We did not have a YouTube video last night. I just need a little break from checking out the charts, but hopefully you guys are able to do some breakdowns by yourself, right? The overall goal of this channel is for you to learn, but today we are going to do that first thing. We are going to break down all the stocks that we cover, kind of like our YouTube video that we're kind of making up for right now. So as we do trickle in, I'm going to wait for a few people to trickle in before we get started on that breakdown and make sure something for a goal today would be, if you're not watching this live or you're coming in and watching it live, make sure to smash that like button for this video. Okay, I think this is a good one today. We're going to see actually a little bit of a pullback going on into the morning, so this will be a good one to smash that like button. And if you could do that for the channel, let's make it a thing today and have us get to 100 likes very, very quickly. Let's get that up to 100 likes. Let's get some more people on the boat so we can teach more people how to trade like water. Okay, we want everyone to be successful. Okay, we don't want to just say, oh, I want to be successful and I want to know something that everyone else doesn't. No, we want, as retail investors, retail traders, we really are out. We should have each other's backs, and we should be giving our opinions and asking questions and doing all those things, but also being able to share the community. If you think that this community is powerful, you think one of your friends or just some random person who you would like to see maybe do better on with their investing or trading could see this video, that's why you smash that like button. So thank you guys. As you do trickle in, we are going to get started on a full breakdown here in about 2 minutes. Okay, we're going to give it about actually 1 minute. We're going to do 1 minute before we actually go all in and start some kind of breakdown here. Okay, so we got about 30 seconds left until we do that breakdown. Thank you guys for showing up this morning. Make sure to smash that like button. Let's get it to 100 likes real quick this morning. We didn't do a video last night, so this is going to be a breakdown. A lot of people are going to want a full-on breakdown, right? Because I missed my video last night, took a little break from the charts. But that just tells me, hey, let's smash that like button so most people can come out and see it, right? We got almost 5,000 subs in here. Good job. Thank you guys so much for being subscribed. I really do appreciate it, but we can always help more people. All right, let's keep this community growing. You guys are doing great trading like water out there. And let's get into a little bit of a breakdown, okay? So we don't have too much news coming out this morning as far as the economic data goes, but what can we pay attention to? Well, let's just talk about how the charts are lining up and get you guys some daily expected moves. And we already posted these to Patreon, so Patreon members, hopefully you already have these on your charts. Very good habit to have those daily expected moves on your charts. And right now we do have 520.21 to the upside. And look at this. Remember, this is a little bit of selling coming in, but this is the zone that I'm really paying attention to, okay? We're paying attention to this today. If we can see some kind of rapid move up, what does that mean? Well, 68% chance we drop. As this trend right here is breaking, we have to pay attention to if this trend continues to the downside. But remember, if we do get excited outside of this, this is still bullish context, because even the 30-minute here is in positive territory. Okay, so the only thing we really have to watch out for downside here is getting up into the bigger time frames. I'd even say the daily, right? That thing is starting to creep into positive territory. We still have potential to drop off from here, but just note that we're holding above this level. If we hold above this level of about 510, 510.50, I'd even say something like 512. I think 512 is a good level to pay attention to. Just know that we are going to be selling will be met with buyers coming in to save that. So if we can retest this 5-day moving average, if that wants to slightly catch up today, we go and retest that. That might be the only pullback we get in this short squeeze. So we have to be quick with it. We have to be willing to flip the script very quickly. And what can we pay attention to today? Today is going to be a big day because we're actually seeing a pullback, which means this 30-minute might be able to get close to that center line. Right now, we do see the little divergence here on the MACD. Don't necessarily see that on the RSI at the same time. So that tells me this is leaning towards some kind of pullback. The probabilities say this will most likely be some kind of pullback. What does that do? We get down towards the center line, we curl back up. What if going into tomorrow, we actually see that curl back up and we get some positive news going on, and then we can get up into this area where I think the potential sellers are sitting. Now, if we're able to keep squeezing past that, use that as support, well, we could be seeing something bigger happen, and I would be very, very worried before CPI and even Nvidia earnings. Now, going into the Qs, we're going to do a similar thing here, right? Similar thing here, seeing that 30-minute get down towards that center line and curl back up into positive territory. Now, we're talking about this because the direction as of right now is down. Remember, that can be brief. Anytime this wants to curl up, it could happen right away. Anytime that wants to curl up, you're most likely going to see a test of this high or go make a new one. And guess what? We can pay attention to some daily expected moves for the Qs today. 444.22 to the upside, and we have 436.42 to the downside. All right, those two zones, those two areas are going to be very, very, very important today. Okay, let me just double check those. Sometimes I I forget to update them on the chart. I just want to make sure they're exactly correct here. 444.22. I got 436.42. Okay, we're all good on that. Now, why do we want to pay attention to this curling up? Well, because in context, you could see that the 30-minute is where? It is in positive territory. We talk about this a lot in the course. The course link's down in the description. But right now, the daily, still down, okay? Still not able to go into positive territory just yet. And so we have to be open to the fact that this could reverse from here. All right, just be open to it. What would that mean? The 30 minutes going to curl way down into negative territory. We're going to see that curl up, maybe use the daily expected move as resistance, start to head down right on that 30 minute. So even though this is a very strong move, we called some kind of short squeeze, we're getting that short squeeze. I see a lot of people able to benefit from that. I'm very glad that this information was helpful to you, and hopefully you are learning from the overall information. But when you look at the daily scale here, what can we say? Well, there's a few things happening. The 5 is crossing the 20, so we still have that chance to go test top Bollinger, right? So we haven't done that just yet, and we do that about 90% of the time. When this happens, you'll test the top Bollinger. When it happens the other way, 90% of the time, you'll test the bottom Bollinger. Okay, so what happened over here? Well, we crossed down, we tried to cross back up, and then we failed. So we didn't test top Bollinger here. Now, if we crossed back in these areas over here, you're going to see test of top Bollinger. Okay, so we cross to the downside. What happens? Well, we ride that bottom Bollinger. Okay, so that can happen. So as of right now, you'd say, hey, any pullback here will be met with some buyers, and maybe I just want to retest that 5 before I want to head higher from here. That's why we're going to pay attention to the 30-minute, getting close to the center line, curling up. That could be the moment, that could be the only pullback you really get in this move. You're going to hear a lot of YouTubers just talking bearish here, and really you want to wait till those signals are proven. You don't just want to predict some kind of crash in this area. You can hedge, you can try to short, but at this point, you would say, hey, if this starts to take over again, I will really be hurt by those shorts. So you want to see how you could get screwed. If you think this is a top, okay, well, what would you not want to see? Well, if this curls down near that center line, curls back up, be very, very cautious, because that usually means you're going to test this high, go make a new one, and anything short up in this area will be worth pretty much nothing. All right, now going forward, Apple. The event, another iPhone or another iPad. It's lighter. It has a new chip. Okay, cool. Nothing really different there. You guys know that I've had an Apple phone for a long time, and then I, left my phone on my car and it got run over because I was putting baby girl away and it slid off into the street. And I got a Google Pixel, and I have to say, I don't know what I've been doing my whole life. I really don't. I think that the Google Pixel is way, way better than what I've been using my entire life, being an iPhone. So Apple, I think their innovativeness is really starting to crash down. Now, if they started to implement other things, AI stuff and things like that, yeah, that's cool. But we know this right here. I mean, overall, you would say, hey, this most likely is because of buyback news and things like that. Now, what do you want to pay attention to? 30-minute. Look at the 30-minute. It's very close to that center line. There is an opportunity maybe here, and then we get up to this zone. The problem with getting up to that zone is if that weakness comes in, you'd be towards a weekly expected move. You have some divergence. So even though we could be bullish for a couple days, well, watch out, because we might start to see some bearish signals very soon. If we drop down from here, just remember that when we break through a zone, well, we like to retest in it to then launch higher. So this is still potentially going to go a little lower. But as of right now, Apple holding up. And if that just curls up now, well, guess what? We might end up in that zone up towards a 188 or something like that. So the thing about this move, right? You weren't supposed to go bullish here. No crossing on the MACD, no real confirmation there. Not supposed to be bullish right now. We have to wait for those signals. Now, Tesla, this one's starting to actually break down. Okay, so this is where we want to pay attention to weekly expected moves. Tesla will be testing that weekly expected move. Remember, we said a breakdown of this. If we start to curl down on this hourly into negative territory, look at that. We go negative on this bar right here, actually took us negative. These bars right here took us negative, and that was your signal. Hey, we're probably going to go try to fill this gap. And maybe we're going to come outside that weekly expected move. So Tesla actually seeing this drop off, now it's going to be outside that weekly expected move, maybe even fill this gap and then curl back up. And guess what? Once that goes positive, we can see another big move. What I'd be paying attention to here, the 2 hour getting close to that center line, right? That starts to curl up. So if that hourly is able to see some good buying from here, the likelihood that we're going to turn up on this 2 hour, pretty good there. Amazon, and we're talking about upside. Why? Because we're still in positive context. Well, everything's still in positive territory. Now, Amazon, This is something I saw towards the end of the day, and I was gonna post it, but I don't know if the selling will be dramatic here, right? Remember, selling will be met with some buyers. So anytime we sell off, we're still going to be in an environment that is positive. So I don't necessarily want to post anything like this because I know it would convince a lot of people to go really short here. And I don't know if this will be a dramatic move, right? Now, I do believe we're doing something important. Here's the big cup. Here's our handle. Now we could head higher, but what if that handle just stops right at 185? That's not a very big move. So I wouldn't necessarily be trying to short anything in this market just yet. Remember, we're still in a positive environment until we lose some key levels. So we'll change our tone once we lose those levels. We're trading like water, right? So at this point, positive environment, if this curls up at any time, well, we could get another big move and then see that start to create a divergence in the future. And I think that's most likely what's coming for Amazon. Create some kind of pullback, big move up, then another pullback, a big move up, and then we see some kind of 30-minute divergence here, which will give us that daily divergence. And I think next week's going to be important with CPI. You got Tom Lee saying that people won't expect it, but inflation's going to print some good numbers for us, some lower numbers. And he's been right a lot. So just be cautious going forward. Just know if we're in a positive environment, sure, you can take a position. Make sure to have a stop around that data, okay? We don't want that data to be the rock that sends you into the sewer, right? We want to keep going down into the meadow. Nvidia, yes, it is dropping down a little bit here, but nothing too dramatic. We're not losing this low just yet. Even if we do lose that low, we can still pay attention to the 30-minute curling up positive territory, right? We don't really have... Remember, that 2-hour divergence is not there anymore. Sorry for sneezing, but that 2-hour divergence is not necessarily there anymore, right? If we pull up the 2-hour, we're paying attention to the possibility of divergence confirming here. You're able to move to a higher level on the RSI. You're able to move to a higher level on the MACD. Now, if Nvidia starts to lose this level right here of 882, then you can start to say, okay, you better hold up at this trend. If you start to break that trend, it starts to look like the 30 minutes going negative, and that would be the negative tone there. Okay, so I just want to pay attention to that. For the daily side for Nvidia, I'm still leaning towards this just being a little pullback and met up with some buyers. But what are we doing as of right now? We're testing the 5-day. If we want to dip a little bit lower, that would make total sense. It's perfectly fine. Now, AMD, this dropping off by about 1% this morning, like 1% down this morning. We want to look at our 30 minutes and things like that. This thing getting close to the center line. Remember, when we get out of a zone, we like to touch the top of it, okay? We like to go boom like this, touch the top of it, and then we go for the second run. Just pay attention to the 30-minute curling up. Positive territory still available this morning if we just want some kind of brief pullback, and that's met up with some buyers. Be careful, though. We do have geopolitical things going on. I've been looking at a lot of the Israel-Palestine Gaza things, and I just have to say it's horrible what's happening, and war's never pretty. And I just hope that everything is able to subside very soon, because we don't need any more people dying out there. Just wanted to make a quick note about that. Not going to be political in any way, but as of right now, Meta, this is a very, very strong move. Now, this is something I was going to post to the Patreon, but if you're a Patreon member, you are paying attention to Meta for sure. Make sure to pay attention to every stock that is given on those weekly ranges, because one of them could give you a big hint. That big hint being Meta was up at its weekly expected move. What happens? We start to drift down from that weekly expected move. So we still could get a bigger pullback. Remember, I really want a retest of 453.08. I think that would be a very, very important thing to do. That would convince me that, hey, this thing actually can head higher and this move is more real. Microsoft, this thing's starting to drop off. This is one that, remember, I told you I was completely out right here because I see this as some strong resistance, and we get a little excited outside of it, and now we could dip back down. So you would say maybe cup and handle starting to form here, but really just pay attention if this 30-minute is able to roll up at any time. Okay, now something we want to pay attention to with Google, it's dropping off as well, but notice this still positive and still within a pretty good amount of time for us to pull back here. So where would we pull back to? Well, this here looks like a big cup, right? And then we could get some kind of handle, possibly down towards 168.80, and then see that start to climb back up. But remember, this curls up at any time. We could just see that next positive move, but we got to keep our eye on volatility. Volatility still not able to go positive on the 30-minute. That 2-hour signal still not able to go positive. Okay, so we're getting some strong bars here, which means we could get a more dramatic pullback. But if volatility does not dramatically increase on the 2-hour here, able to go positive, then we're not going to curl up this daily MACD, okay? So you have to get this daily MACD to curl back up to see that next big move in volatility. And that's not happening as of right now. We're still in that positive environment, which means what? We're below the 200. So once we saw this, we said, hey, yep, squeeze is probably happening. Okay, squeeze is happening. And now we have to say, okay, now we're down towards 13. We really think maybe even 12.12 is possible. Maybe a pop in volatility, right? We said a pop in volatility would make sense. But in a short squeeze, it just keeps happening. So if we do see this volatility drop back off, I'd expect 12.12 to be an area where it pops up. But really, you just want to see if that volatility ever curls up on this MACD down here. Now, one thing that's interesting about this move and the retest of 105.65 happening as of today for Dixie, for the dollar. So remember that even though the stock market's going up, what is the dollar doing? It's going up as well. So this is the only thing that's leading me to like a little bit like, okay, this is a little fishy. There's insider selling again in this move. We're going up and trying to compete with some all-time highs for the SPY and the Qs. We're trying to get into those areas, but now we're testing 105, seeing that drop off. You need that to get back above 105 and probably cross above this high up here, up towards 106.49 for the Dixie. So we'll have to see if this is able to come to fruition. What could happen here? Well, what if this crosses up, creates a divergence? Maybe we do get that more sturdy base before a more significant bounce, before Nvidia earnings or something like that. So we could also go through a time where we move sideways, which means you're going to need some skills to trade in this market. So thank you to everyone who has been taking the course, because I think that that will really help you out this month. And it's probably helped you out a lot over the past couple months, because it's been pretty choppy, pretty one little top there in April that we called, right? We said most likely choppy in March, a lot of traps in March, and then April was going to be some kind of top for either a correction, pullback, or even a stock market crash. Right now we're seeing, well, we're seeing that pull back. We're seeing that little bit of a correction, almost a full-blown one, almost at 10% for the SPY, but not able to break down any further than this. So that is a corrective move. That's about 8.5% down. Okay, perfect. Now we start to climb back up, and we have to see, is this 30-minute going to roll back up into positive territory? That's going to be your real good sign that we're going to head higher. All right, so leaving it on the SPY, let's get to you guys chatting in here. How you doing this morning? Tom Lee's pumping how to when oil and commodities are up. Yeah, and gold is something I'm paying attention to. I think this is gold is what you want to pay attention to with the geopolitical news. And I think this is scary because you have a time where, you know, gold and the market were kind of acting negatively correlated. And so if gold catches a bid at any time, you have to be weary, because that could be some kind of geopolitical news. Now, oil was moving in tandem with the market. It was, until when we go out on the daily scale here, oil was acting in tandem with the market. It was very correlated with the market. You see the big buying up. We see the top come in almost at the exact same time. We start to break down. We bounce. But the market kept bouncing, oil dropped off. So is this going to be right? Is this the real move, and we're actually going to see that deflationary event kind of, right? Oil coming down, a little bit of deflationary event there. But anytime it breaks through this channel, I'm going to say, oh, that thing's going higher. That's not a good sign. But because oil and the market are acting in tandem, or they were, right? We have to see which one's right at this point, but maybe the SPY drops down to that lower level, creates some kind of divergence. We'll pay attention to that. Bitcoin, something to pay attention to as of right now. Wanted to pay attention to the daily scale. Look at that. It looks like it wants to roll over. Maybe it just wants a stronger base here. Okay, so we're back within this channel. Sure, we're paying attention to a higher low at this point, but you have to be scared, because if this starts to break this low, well, we might head down towards that 200, this zone we were paying attention to. This would be a great corrective move for Bitcoin. We'd have to see if buying's able to come back up from there. You see more downward price action for Bitcoin. Well, with this type of look, you're getting a lot of rejection in this area. You're closing back below the 5, so downward test of this move would make sense. A lot of what I like to do is go into a 4-hour, see how that looks. And guess what? We curled over. All right, we curled over, but where are we right now? We're still by that center line, so I'm not convinced we have to go lower just yet. But if we start to break below where we're at right now, if we start to break below, I would say, 4-hour moving averages, maybe not the best thing to pay attention, but if you break down below this level, then you're most likely going to go negative and test this low, go make a new one. But we want to pay attention to any kind of divergences that can form down here for some kind of sturdy base for Bitcoin. I think that would be very telling going into the rest of the day. Now, one thing to look at, SMCI starting to roll over here. Now, 2 hours are going to be something very good to pay attention to. It looks like what? Well, SMCI could go test a lower level because this is still right by negative territory. So we want to pay attention if there's a more significant drop. But for now, we just want to look at a 30-minute, right? We just want to look at a 30-minute getting close to that center line. Maybe a big move is coming very soon. This looks pretty flaggy. So as of right now, still bullish context for SMCI until we start to break back down into this zone. Then you have to say, okay, well, we could either head lower down to the bottom of that zone and hopefully we hold up. But as of right now, it's looking like, hey, this is some kind of flagging, and we could just curl up into positive territory on this MACD down here. The SPY. All right, so let's pay attention to the SPY. Let's look at the Qs dropping off a little bit more. Remember, we broke through an important zone. What do we like to do? We like to retest in the top of it. So anytime this curls up today, we can pay attention. Good morning, Master Trader. What a Fartis, sorry. Juju, welcome, welcome. Coin is dropping, and we'll probably print triple divergence. Yeah, we'll have to see with Coin. Remember, Coin is one that is a possible opportunity coming. Possible opportunity coming with this one. I think it was on a 2 hour, I want to say a 2 hour. Yeah, 2 hour triple divergence. Remember, this looks a lot. This looks a lot like Microsoft, okay? So if you're thinking, hey, Bitcoin could hold up higher, we're still in a positive environment. If this catches a bid here, we could see a big move from Coin next week, right? Next week, maybe we want to hold this up and then we see some kind of bounce, and then next week we get some good data and that's able to push through some key resistance up in this area. Good luck today, everyone. Jero wishes everyone good luck. That is a good thing. We love when people come in and wish people good luck. That's awesome. Mara really dropping off here as well. Now, Mara, one thing to pay attention to, the divergence here, still flagging at this point, right? So Mara telling you, hey, I could head lower here. I could maybe test this level. I could test this level. Yeah, you really want to see that hold up on the 30-minute, I would say, because if that starts to roll over and go negative, you could see a big drop here. Let's welcome some people in. All right, J. Cole, Carlos, Jose, BK, Slot Machines here today. DD, spamming. Let's go. Keep those ideas pumping, DD. Georgie, welcome, welcome. Let's see here. Miles, welcome. Amin, welcome. Roland, welcome. Amin's like, DD, relax a little bit, all right? Relax a little bit. Let's see who else is in here. Kauila. I think I said that wrong, but I tried. Matthew, welcome to the channel today. Welcome, guys. Luke Cassidy, good morning. De Booster, I like anime. Ride this Tesla call for a bit and then sell. Yeah, so Tesla, this is breaking down. We still want to look at a 30-minute. That's able to roll negative. So we most likely want to be a little cautious with this move, but it's starting to reach outside of that weekly expected move and things like that. That's why it's good to be a part of the Patreon, because you can pay attention to stocks that are moving outside the weekly at a key level where the SPY might be getting its only pullback, okay? So I just wanted to point that out this morning. But good eyes on you guys. Welcome to the channel this morning. Make sure to smash that like button. Let's get a bunch of people in here. We didn't get a video out last night. Just wanted to take a little break from the charts. You know, it's good to take a break every once in a while. Let's see. And we'll have to see if my hedge turns into a full-fledged position at some point. But as of right now, not necessarily seeing anything to convince me like, hey, this has to break down from here. If that changes, we will notify you. But as of right now, if one thing we could pay attention to, Nvidia, this thing looking pretty strong still. If we do see some kind of pullback, okay, that's perfectly fine. We pull back, we gap fill. And then we start to go up from there. So we're still paying attention how far this 30-minute can go into negative territory and what the selling looks like, right? If the selling is pretty like down, gradual down, and then we see that turn right back up with a strong move, that's pretty good. But if we start to see a full breakdown, sideways movement, full breakdown, that's not going to look pretty for Nvidia. So we're paying close attention to this. And I do have my other charts up on my left screen just to pay attention to multiple things for you guys. Meta showing massive rollover on the 2 hour. Yeah, Meta's one that was really telling us, hey, this is something to be weary of. This is a weekly expected move. So it is a weird environment where you have Tesla hitting the bottom side, and then you have Meta hitting the top side. So am I convinced this has to go lower? Not necessarily. But I would like to see Meta create some kind of divergence outside of its weekly expected move. So that's where it really is good to be part of the Patreon, because you're going to know exactly what levels to pay attention to. But for now, you would just say, hey, 15-minute curls up, positive territories there. Okay, what would we do? Probably link a point between all these highs in here, and then see some kind of move up, see if that's able to give away with some kind of divergence. That's what I'd pay attention to with Meta today. Volatility. Someone got to keep their eye on volatility for me, up 1.29% today. Keep your eye on that 2 hour. See if that thing's able to go positive. As of right now, you have a 15-minute rolling over, so we'll have to see if that can go negative. But it looks like this could be all the pullback you get, and then we want to get, and then maybe people get FOMO'd in and they get really excited, and then here is where we experience a real drop. Sorry, guys, I'm very sneezy. Late, but I'm here, JS, Mojoma. Good morning. Why is the market cooling off? Well, even from, if you just want to take out all the fundamental stuff and you want to take this from a momentum perspective, the 30-minute does need some kind of pullback, and this is exactly what you're saying. I would say that's a good way to describe it. Just a little cool off. The momentum's been riding up for a long time. You're going to see little pullbacks, but remember, as long as we remain probably above 512 here, that's where I would really say if we start to drop below 512, be a little bit nervous, but you'd say if we just test that level and rebound, that would be a good sign, testing a zone. But if we start to fully break down, use that as resistance, break down again, then you would say, okay, this thing is going negative and confirming a negative trend at that point. So you don't have to be worried until we lose 512. And then first of all, you have to pay attention to the nearest move, right? So 514.07, you still got to lose that first, right? We still got to lose that first. So I'm not necessarily convinced that we're going to like drop to nothing from here. It can happen, and that's why I have a hedge in place. And like I said, it's just building up to, if we curl back up to here, I'll probably go into a full-fledged short position. So you just want to pay attention to opportunity. Remember, even the Dow Jones not able to really sell off from here. You do need probably a little bit more significant pullback, but if this wants to keep squeezing, if people keep getting bearish, right? A lot of people, what is that, a 1.0 put to call ratio. So people are getting bearish in this move. Maybe we can pay attention to the dollar trying to top out around here, but maybe this is consolidation at this point for a break higher. So we'll pay attention to that today. Now this is a 30-minute on the Dixie, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do. If you wanted a stock for this, UUP, right? UUP looks pretty good for this. Now this is just obviously like a little ETF you can trade with the dollar. What's happening? Well, the 30-minute just keeps going. It keeps going, and now it's positive. So you have to be a little bit cautious here. Now the 2 hour still in negative territory, okay? So I just wanted to point out the 2 hour still in negative territory. So trading this, you would say, hey, this needs to go positive in order for that to happen. But look at this in UUP. This is why it's good to pay attention to the actual ETF. You can see a very strong divergence right here, very strong, which tells you what? Well, the dollar has the likelihood to crash down dramatically because that's a very strong divergence, okay? So this told you as well, hey, the dollar's going to drop off dramatically. What does that mean for the stock market? It's probably going to boom. Now, this is gapping higher today, so we'll have to see if that can actually go positive on the 2 hour. That's going to be a very telling thing. We still have to be open to the crash scenario just because the daily is the daily 50, right? The 50 and the 200 are still touching pretty much at this point. Yeah, the 50 is starting to turn down a little, but if that just curls back up, could be very, very dramatic. Go back over to, let's check out how high yield growth is doing. High yield growth, is this a confirmed downward move? Looks like it at this point. Now, this is where we can get a lot of hints from high yield growth. If it starts to lose 76, I would say 76.85, that would turn us over, right? So we don't want to remain below this level right here for very long. We want to maybe come fill a gap and go, okay? So if we start to hold below that level, that would be a little bit more worrisome for the market. As of right now, seeing some bullishness come in right away in the morning, just like we expect, selling will be met with buyers in this environment until you see something dramatic happen. Big bricks meeting in just a few days. AMD bounced from the EMA on the daily, but our rejection at 157. AMD one to pay attention to here. Remember, this could curl up and go positive. So are going to clean up house just a little bit here this morning. And boom, things are starting to pile back up. All right, so if this 30-minute curls up, what's going to happen? The next big move is coming, but just be cautious, right? So if things start to keep buying back up here, right, that buying pressure continues. Up here is where you would get a signal of momentum really dying out. This is kind of your signal like, hey, a little pullback is likely, right, with this kind of signal here, not at the same time on the RSI, just very overbought on the 30-minute. As of right now, it looks like we might just get that bigger move up, and then this would be a reversal signal here. So that would be a potential reversal signal up in these levels, which is up towards those all-time highs, okay? So this is a very important zone right here. All right, SPY. And now, like, you'll see this, like, shorter time frames. What are you looking at? Well, 5-minute. Look at this. Okay, so if you wanted to maybe look for where this might bottom out or something like that, 5 minutes can be looked at. You just have flatness of the RSI and a slight upward move for the MACD here while the price action breaking down. So likelihood for a bounce here is okay. You would like a test of those daily expected moves because we gravitate towards them. But this means this, okay? If we start to take back all of this, then by end of day, we actually could end up at this daily expected move. And then something's ripped away tomorrow. So this could be an area for a buy at this point, but we have to get some confirmation for upside. So I'm looking at a 30, I'm looking at a 30, I'm looking at a 15. The 15 is really close to the center line. So what can happen here? Well, I could get some kind of pop. If that can cross up, I can start to have some reasons to take a trade. And that's what we talk about in the course. Having reasons to take a trade is a very, very good thing. Keeping my eye on things around here. Looks pretty good. Just picked a SPY call with a tight stop since no confirmation is shown yet. And that's kind of how you do it as well. That's a very, very good thing to do, right? If you're going to take anything early before you see any confirmations, you got to have that stop in place, okay? Because really, what you want to see from this area, look at this consolidation. This is an area where you could build a cup, get the handle. Now, this is the more important cup and handle. Right at our daily expected move, I want you to see all these closing bars not able to do it after this gap up. This is your really big signal right here that we're going to keep going. If we can complete this cup, get that handle and break down, well, then we might just be getting a reversal in trend, and we have to pay attention to dailies rolling over and things like that. Where do we see possible support for Palantir? Remember, we have 2029 marked off, so we're getting a little bit towards that as of right now. You don't even have 15-minute divergence. Now, this is off of earnings, so what do you want to see? Well, you want to be cautious. This could continue, right? It can continue, but it is overbought. So if you want to play any downside here, the reason to take a trade, maybe shorter time frame. Okay, breaks the low. Now I ride it a little bit down. Where do I see that support? I still see 2029 as a very important level, right? Very important with these highs. If you start to lose that, especially with this gap, you can cut through that like butter. So if you're going to lose that, be careful because you could head all the way down to like $17, right? $17. That's kind of crazy. But as of right now, that first support going to be probably at 2029, right at these lows. Now, something to pay attention to is a 5-minute chart. You got to see if those negative trends are going to continue. And right now we're seeing the 5-minute try to get a bounce. Now, can that go positive? That's going to be a big deal. If this rolls up, fills a gap, right? Fills the gap, and then rolls right back down, that's not going to be a good sign. That's going to be a sign that, hey, this isn't the moment, and we're going to head down to lower levels. So if this crosses up, crosses back down, this is like if you take that play early and you have a stop down here, it's like, okay, well, if this crosses up just briefly, not this, right? I'm talking about this happening, and then we just roll right back down. That's where I would say, okay, 5-minute, you want to see if that's able to go back down into negative. Happy Wednesday, Lurkin Luke. How's it going? Nvidia's going, or what's the next move? Well, I can't tell you exactly what the next move is. Nobody can do that. No, not one person in the world could tell you exactly what the Nvidia stock is going to do at this moment. But I can tell you this, if this curls up into positive territory, you're going to test this high or we're going to make a new one. So that's what I would say about Nvidia going forward. Just note that we do get data, I think it's like Tuesday and Wednesday. One thing that I'm really looking at is FOMC minutes coming up this month. I think that'll be cool. A good event for us. But as of right now, this curls up positive territory. You got a lot of room on the RSI. You got a lot of room on the MACD to go make a new high. And then we'll see if that's able to be ripped away. And maybe this is a more meaningful pullback to then go up to another high. We'll have to pay attention to that if Tom Lee's going to be right. As a zone on the chart. Good job, Luke Cassidy. That's very good. Then you got things marked off right. Diana, the ES has a double bottom, looking for 528 or 5208 on RGW 5-minute. And the thing about the ES right now is the levels are a little bit different. Pretty much, it's like ES. You don't want to lose 5200. Really, you don't really want to lose 5200 for the ES. And I don't even trade that very often, but I still pay attention to it to look at levels because I'm a nerd. Right now, let's see, 15-minute, is this ever going to curl up? This is really what you want to see. We want to see if this can curl up. As of right now, I wonder what they have as far as news goes. Stocks see support as bond yields fall and earnings impress. That was yesterday. Let's look at those yields. Yields wanting to creep higher. Testing, 4.495. You guys think the levels that we're paying attention to don't mean anything. The levels that we're paying attention to are very good to pay attention to, and we're also at bottom Bollinger. There could be some support here, and TLT could actually drop off. So what's TLT doing this morning? Well, it's not trying to go fill that gap. It's still down in negative territory. 30-minute, let's see if that gets close to the center line and wants to turn back up. But maybe before CPI, we actually see those yields rise, and then when CPI comes out, we actually see those drop off. We'll have to pay attention. But yields making a move higher, dollar saying there's insider selling in this area, so I'm not fully convinced that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this is the most positive thing in the world. I'm just saying this is a positive environment, so I'm going to follow my signals because it's a short squeeze, right? We call it a short squeeze, and that's what we're getting at this point. And right now you're seeing a little bit of momentum start to give up, some taking of profit. All right, cool. Now we have to pay attention to geopolitical news as we drop lower. But will that drop us below 512? That's pretty much what you're looking at. Or is this just going to curl back up into positive territory? I think the more likely scenario is this pulls back down to the daily expected move, and we either see the cup and handle, or we see the bigger high up in here, and then this zone is really what I'm paying attention to. I think we have a good shot to get up to here. This would be a great area for a bull trap. See that thing ripped away, but because insiders are selling, if this thing pushes up higher, I assume insiders will continue to sell in an upward move. That's why I'm paying attention to it very closely. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. Remember the goal of this video, let's get some more people on the boat. Let's get some more people trading like water in the retail trading community. See if people like to learn about some divergences, learn about these indicators a little bit more, like the video so they can give us a chance. And then maybe they even want to subscribe by the end of this video. We'll have to see. Sorry about no YouTube video. You gotta know yourself. You know when you need a break, and it's perfectly fine to take breaks. It's perfectly fine to just sell everything and take a day to yourself, guys. It's perfectly fine. You're gonna want to keep your emotions high. You don't necessarily want to trade when your emotions are a little bit hectic. right? Things are a little hectic at the house, right? So I'm gonna chill out for a day. And now we'll be back tonight on YouTube. I promise you tonight you'll get a YouTube video. If Grayscale and other crypto cartels change strategy to RWAs, could be a decent profit. If so, I think it will be a year or so, but still, there you go. Some info about crypto. Let's keep our eye on crypto, by the way. Let's make sure to keep our eye on it. Trying to base out in this area. What do we like to see? We like to pay attention to 2 hours. If the 2 hour curls up, yes, we can head higher for Bitcoin. But if that 2 hour just keeps going down, what do you have to look at? Well, I got to look at a 4 hour. When is that going to curl up? Well, if that keeps going down, maybe I want to create a divergence first. So as we do get to negative territory, this is where you really want to pay attention to Bitcoin, because the 4 hour holds a lot of weight. That 2 hour can go negative for a little bit, but once that 4 hour goes negative, that can be a little bit more weight behind it. And we could see a drop back down towards 57.3K. Mark, good morning. So for Bitcoin, 4 hour crosses up, you might get some kind of A, B, C move. And remember, we were saying, yeah, it looks like something like 68,000, 70,000 looks pretty likely for Bitcoin if we can get this to curl back up. So that's what I'm paying attention to going forward. And then from this area, I'll pay attention to any kind of divergence. So if that's a little lackluster and it creates a divergence, that's where I'll pay attention. But if this move is big, if this move on the 4 hour can be big, if we can cross up and see this go all the way up towards like 70K, you probably won't even create a divergence here because you see the RSI not necessarily overbought. So do I think this is all Bitcoin has in it? Not necessarily. I'm paying attention to downside, but I think this 4 hour probably curls up. We see a big move, and then maybe we even break out of this flagging that we have going on for Bitcoin, and then we can see us go up towards our price target, which is about, 75K, 80K. Netflix, it went like a rocket ship. All right, let's go look at Netflix right now. Woo, that's a big move. Where were we paying attention to Netflix? 543. So 543, great buy area down here. What can we see down here? 2 hour. All right, able to go positive. Did anything tell us that this was going to be a good move? Uh-oh, we got a wonky divergence. Maybe we want to look at that to make it a little clearer. When it's wonky, you want to make it clearer. Okay, so what do we see? We see that move down to exactly where we expect, all right? 543.31. We see a big bounce. We curl back down. We test that area maybe for a double bottom, and then we see that climb back up right by positive territory. This was the time to get in right here. So if you take the course and you really understand these types of things, you can make a range for this, right? Maybe that came outside the range down here, and then boom, you see that go positive. This bar right here told you, hey, even though I see a red bar here, don't get scared out because this thing wants to go positive at this moment. And look at that, right when it goes positive, right on this bar here is actually the confirmation of positive territory. And then you say, okay, boom, big move coming. We know a short squeeze is right around the corner. We're paying attention to the dollar. We're paying attention to the SPY. We're paying attention to yields. We're paying attention to everything that gives us enough info to say this is going to be some kind of squeeze. That thing squeezes higher. Look at that move. I don't trade Netflix too often, especially after a big dramatic drop with earnings. I wasn't necessarily like looking at this too heavy. But if you take the course, if you're paying attention to these YouTube videos too, if you're very good at paying attention to YouTube videos, you can start to take notes and see what I'm paying attention to as well. And just see, okay, this crossed above this high. So once you get in on this, this is positive territory. Now you cross above this high, you know that's going to be pretty bullish. Greetings from the UK. Silver is rising, folks. Silver is rising. And I think silver is still undervalued. I really, really do. Now, we were talking about silver. What did we say? Head and shoulders. Head and shoulders, right? Now, this is going to be a very flat head and shoulders, most likely. But this is where you would like to see some piling up in price. Some buyers really kind of fighting between the bears here. Buying, 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 buying. And then that buying takes over. Boom. We start to do this. And now we break out. So a breakout above 2520 would be pretty huge. I would say 2520 is my area where if that breaks through there, well, we could see some positivity. Really looking at a 2 hour, it's positive. Looks like it wants to roll over. So if that rolls over, right, we can see a divergence. But as of right now, you would say, I like the structure. If we can break above this 2520, very important level to break above, we can do that. Hey, this thing's going to go positive. So at that point, what do I want to pay attention to? A daily scale, because the 2 hour, if that can go positive right there, then the daily actually might roll up. I was like stuttering really funny right there, but the daily can actually roll up, which means most likely we're actually going to see a new high for silver. So now you ask yourself, if silver is going to make that move higher, why? So in the chat right now, why do you think, it just based on what you guys are seeing fundamentally, out there, why do you think silver would make its next move higher right now? Silver, gold, anything like that. Why do you think that would happen? First two things that pop into my mind, I'll say them right after we get some opinions out there. Looks good, though. I'll leave it on the spy while you guys answer that question. See if this 15-minute was able to curl up just yet. All right, let's see. Geopolitical news plus inflation. The depletion on Earth. Robotics is taking off. Lower dollar cuts stagflation. Geopolitical news. SPY turning up on the 30-minute. What I would overall say is I agree 100% with the geopolitical news. I think that's going to be very, very important. And also, just real quick, let's put a tack in that for a second. 5-minute, really got to pay attention here. This needs to go positive. We're starting to see a red bar pop up, so I just want to zoom in real close and leave you guys here for while we talk about it. But first two things that pop into my mind are geopolitical news and inflation. So you got it right away on the first one there, Corey. Those are the first two things that pop into my mind. Now, what would cause that inflation? Geopolitical news, right? So that's what I'm thinking. So what would cause that inflation right now, or the scare of inflation, the potential hedge, maybe a flight to safety in some way, would be geopolitical news. I think that things are really starting to ramp up, and we'll see that possibly come to fruition, right? We could see that really happen, and then we have to pay attention to CPI next week very closely. What's going to be the reaction if we have geopolitical news that's screaming, hey, gold and silver are going to go up, and then we also see some data that's actually good saying inflation's coming down overall in the United States? I think that would be a huge, huge confusion in the market, and we'll have to see how that reaction is. I've actually seen those Tesla bots before. I haven't looked at them in a long time, though. I know that I think it was like, did they implement the AI bots into there? Maybe I was thinking of Nvidia. I think I'm thinking of Nvidia. The dollar will go down, and this is an area where it's a retest, right? It kind of chose a direction, and it is a retest. So if you want to talk about this in bullish context, right, we don't want to look at a 5-minute or anything. You'd look at a 4-hour. And you would say, look at that resistance coming in right at 105.65. We see that touch. Okay, so this is where the dollar would retest, right? We kind of saw a breakdown from this area. We broke down below these lows. Okay, we break down. What do? We're trying to retest that area. So if you take it back, that would be bearish. But if you're able to see that resistance come in, that would actually be bullish. Now, this would be a weird setup before any kind of CPI or anything like that. The dollar making a divergence and seeing a strong move before CPI would be very, very interesting. Or maybe it sees a strong move with CPI, but that's something I would pay attention to as you see rejection from here. Seeing that curl down, see some kind of divergence. The reason I'm talking about that is the previous times you've seen 4-hour divergences on the dollar, they've really hinted at some weakness coming in the stock market or some kind of pop in the dollar, right? So what do you have down here? Double bottom, 4-hour divergence. Okay, pops up higher, very significant on the RSI. We talk about that in the course, but as of right now, you're not necessarily seeing that signal. So this could just be some kind of rebound, all right? This could be some kind of rebound to test a very important area. We actually talked about this a few days ago. We said, hey, if we're going to see that bullishness come in, we could retest this area and then see an ABC down, and then maybe we create some kind of divergence. That's what I would pay attention to. 4-hour divergence is something you really want to pay attention to for the dollar. MACD divergence towards the center line. Is that on SLV? I really like to only look at the actual things you can trade most of the time, but 30-minute, I'm not seeing divergence. Now you do have that divergence down at the lows. So this was your hint about this move. And I think we gave this move with gold, right? We gave this move with gold. More Pando came in. He took it. That was his big play. He was able to make $1,000 really quickly in a couple days. But you're coming down like this. And thank you so much, More Panda, for donating to the channel. That was awesome. I appreciate that you think the information's helpful enough. You're willing to, contribute back to the community. Maybe buy me a new mouse because this thing's wonky as hell right now. But right now we are looking at some divergences down here. Okay, so what was this? This was the hint that, okay, there's divergence. If this goes positive, it's going to be a big thing. So maybe you take the chance here get a little stop going here, and then boom, that big gap up. That's a great move, right to where we expect, right to where we were talking about. Look at that, come right into the liquidity zone. Now you're going to get a fight between the bulls and the bears. Who's going to be wrong? All right, break down below this level right here, kind of matching in between these highs. You see this high right here matching up with this closing bar over here. So if we break below that, you'd say we're most likely going to fill the gap. But if we're able to close above, what is it, 25.20, right? The closing bar, we see a wick, we gapped below that area. So we're pretty much in a very important zone. You can kind of see it between these two lines. If you break to the upside, very, very bullish, kind of confirming something here. Maybe you see that fully go up and test these highs. But if we see that break down, well, we might need some more structure. So we'll pay attention to this. Volatility is starting to drop off now. Starting to drop off, but this 15-minute, or the 5-minute, not getting the confirmation yet either, so maybe we have some more work to be done here. Good catch, Parth. Very, very good. Now, I wouldn't say I see any divergences, by the way, on silver to the upside just yet, right? I'm seeing a 15, if you really want to think about it simply, right? 15-minute curls up and goes positive here. Boom, good move. Now note that on my trading, on my back testing, I really like confirmations on a 30-minute to stay in a move. If you're going to take something on a 15-minute, I would just highly suggest you start to up those timelines, up those time frames, because what you're wanting to see here is if the 15-minute does curl up, and you want to see a strong move here, you're going to need that 30-minute to curl up around this area, I would say. I think around here is where that 30-minute needs to curl up, and that could be more confirmation. So take anything, remember, tight stops. We're in an environment where geopolitical news can really flip stuff. But maybe that's why silver actually pops higher. So if that geopolitical news subsides, that would be some reason for silver to back off a little bit more. Q's 15-minute down towards that center line, not able to curl up just yet. Maybe some more work to be done today. Maybe some more work to be done. We go down to this area, and then we see that bullishness come in. We'll have to see what happens. I'm going to click through on my other screen while I leave you here on the Qs for a brief moment, just to see if I see any interesting trade setups. I like to keep my eyes and ears very open to any possible moves coming. Got some money on the side, ready to invest. Okay, so Nvidia still piling up in this area. Looks like it hasn't curled up on that 30-minute MACD for that second move higher. All right, let's go through in order here. Let's start with IWM. IWM is showing some little bit of flat divergences on the 30-minute to kind of give you a hint. Like I said, I don't want to post to Patreon overly things that people can read into as some kind of reversal in trend. I want to be very clear when I give some kind of trade setup, like the gold setup. That was a good one. Like the Microsoft setup. Those were very, very clear. And those are the type of ones I try to post, the ones that I see as the most beneficial at this point. As of right now, IWM breaking down. That one I might start to make daily expected moves for as well. If you guys are interested in IWM daily expected moves, we can start to do that as well. Maybe we post those to Patreon or something like that. We'll have to see. Apple breaking down a little bit here. Still not anything to be too worried about. Really just looks like consolidation at this point. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, some people are going to take profit after an earnings that gives a, what is this? An 8% move in 5 minutes, right? So we have to pay attention to anytime Apple wants to curl up on this 30-minute. Look at that opportunity that could be there, is what I would say for Apple. It looks like the next positive move could be around the corner. Now, I would say that event is always lackluster for me whenever I watch it. Tesla, God dang it, man. Tesla's giving you a reason to be like, okay, maybe I do want those weekly ranges on Patreon, or at least maybe I want to learn how to make my own, right? Not encouraging you to have to join the Patreon or anything like that. We give trade setups and we talk about stocks, and there's a little chat room and things like that that are very, very good. But Tesla literally touching the weekly expected move to a T on that downward move and seeing some buying pressure. So if this wants to curl up from here, pretty convinced, because the probabilities are that we end above that price point. So we'll see from there. but very, very cool. Yeah, Amazon's the only one that truly had a solid divergence on the MACD, but not on the RSI at the same time. So I'm still paying attention to Amazon for another upward move. We'll have to see if that actually happens, but we have to see some confirmations from all of these things. It got up towards the weekly, but did not go test it. It was about 4 points away. Nvidia looks like some opportunity could be coming. Starting to fade this buyback at this point. After that first 30 minutes, now we're starting to fade that a little bit. We'll have to see if that bases out at any time. Curls back up positive territory. AMD, and I know I'm leaving you guys on the Qs. I just wanted to look through and see anything. AMD looks like it's still in a consolidation type pattern right now. Still in positive territory on the 30-minute, okay? So going sideways, and we are still in a bull trend. We have seen this all week. Exactly. That's kind of how you have to think about it. Bullish context. Everything is bullish. Why? Well, note this, 438.28. What are we staying above? 438.28. Remember, I said in order to go make a new all-time high, you have to remain above 438.28 for the Qs. And what are we doing? We're remaining above 438.28. If we start to break below that, we can talk. But truly, you have to break below in the Qs. You have to break below 433.28. 433.28 would kind of flip the script, right? We'd go negative trend for sure, and maybe those any buying would be met with selling. As of right now, you're in an environment where any selling will be met with buying. You can see that just from the gap. Look at the gap this morning. Then we gap, we immediately see the buyers come back in. So all selling will be met with buying until we're able to break through some key levels. What's going on with the VIX? This is just telling you the fear is dead. There is fear that is just dead in the market as of right now. Remember, we're still squeezing. So this is where I keep saying this is not an opportunity to really go short. This is an opportunity to start to hedge down at these levels with maybe a volatility play. But you need to pay attention to the daily side of things. You need to pay attention to where stocks are and if they're even giving reversal signals. You're seeing a lot of divergences on one thing but not the other, which means I don't have 5 reasons to take the trade, which means I can hedge, but I'm not going to treat this as some kind of major pullback, as some kind of crash at this point. Okay, so what I truly believe is going to happen is if we do see a pop in volatility, I think CPI is the reason that we actually see that subside. Pay attention to FOMC minutes and Nvidia earnings. If we're going to see this just continue to drop off, then maybe CPI is something that's going to shake up the market. But at this point, we would say 13 and 12. We're still paying attention to that. Well, what do we need to happen for the next crash opportunity and major volatility coming back in? Daily's got to go positive. It's back to negative. That means we're squeezing. So volatility is doing exactly what volatility is supposed to do in a squeeze. It's saying, hey, nobody is bearish here. The fear is getting sucked out. And right when the fear is all sucked out, we could see something dramatic happen. Or maybe we just move sideways in the market. And that's where you're going to see some chop, which is fine for a trader. Chop is perfectly fine. Copper is looking like a move up. And I believe like copper moving up is a bullish sign, isn't it? So I believe copper moving up and things like that will be a bullish sign. Maybe it's kind of like oil. Like oil needs to start to catch up to the market if it's wrong in this overall move, right? Seeing that wick out. Now we see that start to head up. That means the inflation play is still on at this point. But that would also tell you if the inflation play is still on, then why wouldn't stocks inflate, right? Inflation is doing something crazy. Inflation is putting us through some wild times. Why? Because inflation goes higher, what happens to the price of stocks? As stagflation is still there, that means that we're still getting positive GDPs. Okay, we're still getting positive GDPs, which is convincing people there that we're still growing. But you have to say the only reason we're still growing is because of the inflation that is out there in the economy that is still sticky. And so we're going to keep seeing inflation, or we're going to see a positive GDP pretty much until inflation is taken care of, or until the debt is taken care of. I think all of this is debt. Actually, if we really want to talk about it, let's go all the way back. If you want my honest opinion, I think all of this is debt. I think all of this is inflation and debt. And I think that that's the problem we're about to run into in the next year or two. I think we're going to run into that problem. Now, we can do a lot until then, right? We can do a lot until then. We could see those yields uninvert and people get bullish for a little while, and then 6 to 18 months later, we see the recession set in. 5-3, so Q's 30-minute. I know what you're seeing. I know what you're seeing. I know what you're seeing. You're seeing the divergence here, and one, you didn't necessarily get confirmation of the next move higher to give this a solid divergence, but I see what you're seeing. I see it right here. The only problem is right here. The RSI not giving you that weakness in momentum just yet. You need to see weakness in momentum on the RSI at the same time, in my opinion. Something like this would be more likely right now than something like this. Right? Because you're saying this is going to reverse trend, which means something dramatic is going to happen. That seems less likely. Now, geopolitical news can cause that to happen. I'm still open to it. But I'm just saying right now, you're in a positive environment. Don't convince yourself like, hey, this is all going to be crashed away until some geopolitical news comes out. And what do we do when we are scared of geopolitical news and we're going up to higher levels? We scale out of our longs, which is exactly what I've done. We start to hedge a little bit against those longs. And as we scale out, maybe that turns into a full-fledged short position up in these areas. That's what I would say. That's how I like to do things during a short squeeze. I've been through a few of them. Darwin, I hope that was helpful. I'm not... Like, you are seeing things correctly. I want to validate you on that. You're seeing things correctly. I just want you to think further about it just a little bit. If I'm only having the divergence on one momentum indicator and not the other, I can read into it and say, yeah, that could reverse over, but there's higher probability that I'm just going to pull back and bounce. And what are you seeing right now? A pull back and a bounce. Okay, so until that is disproven, we can't start to be overly bearish. I don't want you to pile into the bear side and then lose a bunch of money because we squeeze tomorrow. You're welcome, Darwin. Thank you for showing up to the videos, guys. Thank you, guys. You guys are here. You guys are always bringing up some good things to talk about. Anthony's here. Gold panning is a great way to spend a day outdoors. Careful, though. You'll metallurgy obsessed. Like me. What the fuck is going on with Netflix? It's up 6 straight days. Hey, that thing got beat down with the earnings. And wasn't it Netflix that actually produced good earnings? This is what I'm saying about these stocks that produced good earnings but had a bad thing happen. Now you're seeing the opposite thing. Tesla produced bad earnings and announced something good, and look at how that one's performing. So you're in a very complicated environment, but you have to say, Netflix down in these areas, if you were paying attention, this is a great trade setup. This is pretty much a double bottom. Now, would I be in this move up here? Oh God, if you're still in Netflix at this point, I would highly encourage you to start to look at your 15-minute indicators and see how long this can continue. Okay, this is a sign that this is a very rapid move, and this might be a get-out-of-jail-free card if something bad is around the corner, right? We talked about get-out-of-jail-free cards with Palantir, right? We talked about that. This was a get-out-of-jail-free card if you were to the call side anywhere down in this area, right? This was a get-out-of-jail-free card. Boom, that rips down. Hopefully a lot of you guys learned your lesson if you were holding these the next day. What can you do if you really wanted to do this? Okay, well, what if I just take everything out that breaks me even and then I keep some? Okay, then I see something dramatic and wham, that sucks. This is a massive move. I would have took profit before earnings, to be totally honest. That's how I would have done it. Sean, you're growing fast. Yeah, the Netflix is growing fast, man. Look at that thing. Netflix is growing fast, man. I'm not growing that fast. But keep streaming. Yeah, I'll keep going for you. Might be a bear trap. They've killed us all week. And exactly, that's what you want to pay attention. Now, Netflix might be a different story. That is a very rapid move. But as far as this goes, this could be a trap at this point. You see the 15-minute right by positive territory. Okay, what happens? We curl up, and then we start to go higher. We hit the daily expected move, and then this isn't the real moment to be bearish. Sure, it's the moment to say a pullback can come. This might be the moment to have an actual argument for a reversing trend. Now, as we approach that area, remember, we're above some key levels, and that daily is taking over still. All right, we saw one bad bar so far. Okay, one bad bar in this move. What are we probably doing? We're going to test 5-day, let that catch up. All right, because we haven't even touched top Bollinger, and this thing's starting to point up, which means upside is likely here. Okay, so I'd really pay attention to these monthly expected moves. You start to get outside of that, then I would say something bad can come around the corner if you confirm some divergences up here. I think we're still in a very bullish environment. I don't want to talk about it. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I like anime. We won't talk about it anymore. I promise. Brian says, y'all make sure to like and subscribe. Best channel by far. Thank you so much for saying that, Brian. Very, very nice thing to say. Appreciate you. Are you talking about Nvidia? Yeah, Nvidia's doing the similar thing. You pretty much can say the same thing across the entire market. You really can. 15-minute curls up, goes positive. Another positive move coming. If you want extra confirmation, you'd say 30-minute curls up. The only thing is that 30-minute, when it curls up, it's going to be like at this high. So if you really want to break through that, the 30-minute will be a good confirmation of that. And then we can see where we'd end up with some weekly expected moves and things like that. So if I go over and click on Nvidia, does it have room to the upside? Yeah, it's got some room to the upside here. You know, maybe once we start to get to 940, I'll start to be like, all right, maybe be a little careful now. Where's the sellers? What are you talking about? That's not clickbait. These are sellers. What? you guys, man. Some of you guys that come in. This is selling, by the way. If you notice, we were at okay. Here, I'll do this real quickly, and because Joaquim or whatever is being an asshole. So here we go. All right. So the price point of this Joaquim was 518.47. The price now is 516.92. That means some people sold in order to push the price of the stock down. All right. Sorry, had to be an asshole for a sec. Keep going, brother. Just remember, if you come in with that kind of vibe, you're going to get the same vibe back. You're going to get the same vibe back. And if you're thinking that we've been bearish in this, then you're just dead wrong. You're just dead wrong. Yeah, guys, so if the price of a stock is 100 and then it goes down to 90, that means that someone sold. I don't know. I feel like if we had to make that clear, you probably should not even be looking at charts. I don't even know what I made my title. I was just trying to... Also, I barely even know what I made my title today. I genuinely was trying to hop on fast so we could do a breakdown because I didn't put out a video yesterday. How will Nvidia perform days before earning reports? Well, right now, you'd have to assume it's going to be bullish until that earnings report, right? You're in a bullish context as of right now. Now, that could change over the next few days. We'll have to see. But as of right now, that's really how you want to look at stocks too. It's like, what are they doing right now? You don't want to be like, let me try to guess what happens next week with Nvidia. No, you just want to follow that price action for right now. And right now, what do you see in this 30-minute curls up? We make a new high. This is where I would say, okay, now we have the chance to turn down before the earnings. But if that curls back up, okay, now we're going to turn back up before earnings. You always want to be flipping the script. Doing things like trading like water has really helped us out. Remember we day one, bro. Yo, I'm pretty good at remembering you guys in here. I really appreciate everyone sticking around from probably there's probably tons of you guys who are still here from when I had 200 subs or something like that. And I love it. Trade like water. It's the best thing we can do. And so as of right now with your Nvidia question, Jeep, you want to take it as I'm always going to be changing with the market. Okay. That will make you better than trying to be like, what's going to happen for the next 21 days? Very difficult to do that. You always kind of want to be flipping the script. All right. So right now, what is the script? Positive context. We're in a squeeze. Sure, we're getting some sellers coming in, but that's perfectly fine. Why? Because we're not like making a series of lows. We're not dipping into negative territory. So therefore, boom, we can see an upward move if we get some more confirmations. Microsoft showing some strength, up almost 40% on those SPY calls. Well done. Took some profits. Hey, very, very good. Trading like water also includes, I'm an investor, but still enjoy your content. Type K Blood. You can still use this info as an investor. I encourage you to look at the weekly scales. I encourage you to look at the daily and the weekly scale stuff because you can still use the same stuff that we're looking at. That's the good part. It's like, there's some law for it in like physics or psychology or something, which is if it's true at the top, it's also true at the bottom, right? So it would say it's kind of like 2 plus 2 is going to be double, okay? But if I add 16 and 16, that's going to be double, right? It's always true throughout. So the things that are true for these shorter time frames are true for the higher time frames. It's just you see a lot less crazy things. Why? Because time. It's kind of like rolling the ball around a roulette wheel. If you roll the ball around the roulette wheel 10 times in an hour, you might see 5 red, 5 black. But if I roll the ball around the roulette wheel 1,000 times, well, then you're going to see multiple times where you see black, 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 red, 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 right? Remember when you're big to keep acknowledging your peeps. My goal here is not to be big. My goal here is not, I mean, obviously that would be awesome to interact with more people and teach more people. But the overall goal is to be helpful. I'm in no way getting cocky. I know that one thing that you should never be, especially as a trader, is cocky, because the stock market can rip all that away from you right when you think you're really, really good, right? Mr. Perfect, I did want to look at Microsoft real quick. He said strong move here for Microsoft. So what could we see? 15-minute towards the center line, curling up, positive territory. Wow. Do not say Zillow. Do not say Zillow. I'll check on Zillow, but that's a good move from Microsoft. And what's it doing? Remember cup and handle in this area? This is an area where I scaled out completely. Now I can think about maybe taking another play in. Maybe I get in early with the 15-minute. I see this closing bar right here. I just put my stop right there, and then I'm able to buy back up. So I'll probably check on the price of things. I want to look at weekly ranges and things like that before I get into any move to make sure that there's room to the upside. That's what I would say. So what do we have? Well, we got a little bit of room to the upside. So let's see if Microsoft is a good play. And this is why I like being live. You guys watch stuff for me too. It's not just me teaching and giving some examples and things like that. There's also, hey, you guys are helping me out by pointing out things that I'm not paying attention to. So let me look at Microsoft. Overall, I'm just paying attention because things are a little bit expensive, but we could see an upward move. Well, let me look where that range is. Okay, now I know at price point that I can go grab something. And maybe I just want to do a small play here. Let's do, what do you guys think? 10 contracts. All right, so Microsoft making a good upward move. Looks like a strong one. That's why I'm getting in a little bit earlier, okay? Because I see that strength past the RSI. So this is a little bit of how I do things, and you guys can see it in real time. About 10 contracts bought right here because that RSI is able to cross above that center line before the MACD. Now that MACD I can use as confirmation. Stop put in. All right, perfect. All right, so we have our stop at our low. All right, stop down here. Now we see if there's any upside here. All right, we're still above that on that RSI. Want that confirmation of that MACD. If I don't get that confirmation right now, well, then I'll see if it breaks below this low. If it doesn't break below that low, I can scale in a little more, maybe take another chance on it. Maybe I even want to look at a 5-minute, right? Maybe I want to look at a 5-minute, see this thing get up into positive territory. If that curls down, another position possible with some kind of double bottom on the 5-minute. And then if that starts to get ripped away below this level, if I get a close below this level, it'll stop me out. So what I like to do with a move I take early, by the way, is I pretty much am ready to get out, to just react to get out. I want to see if this wicks out below this, takes out my stop, right? So I'm going to see if this closes below here before I fully get out, by the way. Wanted to make that very clear. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat there. Zillow, oh god. It's I just keep reading Zillow. It's nice to not have to worry. Dividends saving my sanity so I can touch grass and enjoy it. Hey, JS, aren't you older than us, man? You've had more time to do this. We can't buy a bunch of dividends just yet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm waiting for some big drop and then I might do the same thing, JS. I think the next crash will be the best opportunity in my lifetime. I genuinely think that. But I gotta be patient and be a good trader until then, right? I gotta react. I can't just sit back and be comfortable until that big drop, and then I can just, you know, throw half my money into it at the bottom and be like, cool. Maybe I'll trade the rest on like just 2-hour charts only or something, or daily charts only. Be a real position trader. Oh yeah, by the way, I do want to go look at Zillow. Let's go look at Zillow. Screw you, Zillow. I hope you sell off. Just kidding. It's probably going to turn from here. Damn it. Frickin' Zillow. Frickin' Zillow. It's probably gonna turn from here. And just make me mad because it won't go down. But hey, it's selling off pretty good. Let's look at a 30 minutes still. All right, that just crossed over. It actually probably has a little bit more room to the downside. Maybe it wants to come down into this liquidity. Still paying attention to my 15-minute charts, though. Nvidia still not confirming that move higher just yet. Got to keep our eye on Microsoft now, seeing some resistance come in. But we did take back the moving averages on the 30-minute. Good sign. I'm going to be very quick with this, by the way. I think that if we get some kind of move like this, it will be relatively brief. So I'm being a little careful with that. True, it takes at least 500,000 to make that 1 to 6% work. And that's why I want to do it at the bottom, so I have growth and dividend potential at the bottom there. Can't buy anything with silver other than USD. USD is the store of value for every other country. That's very true. Very true. So we have to think, you know, something crazy that is actually going on right now is what if the dollar is kind of gotten rid of. It's like with the inflation, if we continue like this, and that's the bad part, is like if they really wanted to, guys, we could continue this forever, and then you're just gonna pay like what, $50 for a cheeseburger. I think it's like the inflation of fast food. Have you guys seen the chart of inflation of fast food from when it started to what it is now? It's like it's cheaper. It's much cheaper to go to the. I know the grocery store is expensive, but it is much cheaper. It's like fast foods like this. Grocery store or something is like this, right? So it's like way more expensive to get fast food than it is to go like cook. Good thing we cook a lot at this house. Yeah, I actually was talking to someone about the yen. So I have my friend who is in the Air Force. He's a captain, he's a pilot, and he's over in Okinawa. So what they do is obviously they see the benefits. I think they pay like $3 or something for lunch every day, and so like that's crazy. But I've been seeing that the yen really dropping off now. What we want to pay attention to is I actually told him, I'm like, you actually might want to like turn your dollars into some yen, because it's like buy low, sell high, right? So trade forex. Same question to Luke. I don't trade forex. No, I pay attention to some of their like charts and stuff. Like I think like SPX 500 is a forex. I think it's a forex chart. So I don't do it though. Forex is the one that you can like trade for their platform or something like that. Maybe I should do a competition sometime. I work for Uncle Sam. I do great. He does great. I do poorly. He does great. Yeah, that was the funny part. Like, you want to know how to solve our government problems? Everyone's just like, everyone just doesn't pay taxes 1 year because they're just putting you into a debt crisis. You might as well like have them actually deal with the problem. The problem is they would actually be better off still than everyone else if you did that, because they make themselves rich. Chug the coffee. All right, guys, I'm getting a little hot. I don't know why. Exactly, they could just print. I'm getting a little hot, so I don't know why. I'm gonna change into like a tank top or something. I don't know. It's like a little bit hot today. Maybe I need to drink more water. I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom, do all that good stuff. Make sure if you're not subscribed and you're enjoying this content today, if you're enjoying our setups and things like that, one thing we can probably look at. Let's look at Nvidia and leave you guys on that while I do go change my shirt. I might have to put on a tank top. My shoulders have been, if you know, I dislocated both of these. Our AC's on, man. The AC's on. But I'm going to go use the restroom and be right back. So, guys, chat about some stuff while I'm away, all right? And we're back. And we're back. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Ooh, I like that little statement there. All right, money. Where is it? Money should be a tool, not a lever. Don't live for money, live for meaning. You will be a lot happier. All right, Amazon. Once again, we're just waiting for these 30 minutes to confirm, and we can pay attention to 15 minutes as well. We can see if upward moves come on the 15 minutes. Nvidia able to curl up, but is it going to go positive? Needs to go positive, guys. That's another confirmation if it can go positive. Microsoft seeing that drift down a little bit. Remember, this hasn't even crossed up yet, so I'm keeping that tight stop there. Tesla call looking solid now, selling it today, of course. I like anime. I bet, like, now that Palantir thing happened, you're like, I'm taking money. I don't care. Good job, though. Good job. Take that. Take that. Let's see Tesla. I just remember here, this is a good move. This was very, very cool, guys. Okay, you guys, I'm going to just tell you this right now. Do you want to know where the weekly expected move? You know, actually, Patreon members, should I tell them where the weekly expected move is for Tesla? Do you think it would make, like, bearish people mad because we bounced from somewhere? Should I tell them? Let's have a little vote. Patreon members, do I tell them? Meta calls are fire right now. Just be a little bit careful with Meta, by the way. This is a very upward move. And Sean, are you part of the Patreon? Because there is something very, very huge up here for Meta that you really want to be careful with as it's heading higher. Now, you could keep squeezing, but just something you want to be aware of there. All right, should we show them? Should we show them, guys? I don't care. Almond's like, I don't care. All right, cool. Pretty much right there. Right there. So, share the love, Tittle Spark. That's where your weekly expected move was for Tesla. What do we do? Well, we go touch it. Pretty cool, right? Just do it. I've been so bearish in making money on Tesla puts, but saw the Patreon and the levels on other charts and was like, time to flip short-term bullish. Yeah. Up 3K, Sean. Let's go. Congratulations, Sean. Nice job. Dave G, think we'll reverse from here now that we filled the gap. There is potential for that, by the way. Oh, Apple. We haven't looked at Apple for a minute here. Let's look at Apple. Okay, so the thing with Apple is you still haven't curled up on the 30-minute, but you also haven't rolled negative. So what would we say from here? Well, this is a turning point that Apple is going to have to make a decision. Are we going to break below this low, go touch into this zone, and then see if we can turn back up, or are we going to break through it, or are we going to turn up on this MACD and see a move into this zone? So it's pretty much if we go negative here, we go to this zone. If we go positive here, we go to this zone. Pretty cool for Apple. So still paying attention to my weekly expected moves. I think those will be very, very telling. Very, very good job, though, Sean. Everyone's celebrating you there. That's awesome. We love it. Microsoft, look at that. Starting to see that upward move. Okay, 15 minutes. Still hasn't curled up just yet, but that's a little bit more than a gap fill. The SPY, this is where some resistance can come in, but I'm letting you know you are in bullish context, and this is your first decent pullback, right? This is the first pullback that we like as a trader for the next move higher. We are still in a positive environment. You are not seeing volatility scale up. You're actually seeing that crash back down. Okay, now this is where we can be a little bit careful. Okay, the 30-minute is going to show something here. And this is what I'm going to point out. You notice that the VIX is getting closer and closer to the center line, which means more potential to flip the script. All right, so if we do something like this briefly, well, then we want to see, is the SPY proving anything at the same time? Uh-oh. What if the SPY makes this upward move and the VIX shows us the same signal in the other direction and we actually pop up to the zone I've been talking about? This zone right here is where I would really pay attention to. If we see that upward move, you're going to get a divergence on the VIX and the SPY at the same exact time. And 30-minute for the VIX is going to have like a quadruple divergence. So very, very scary there. Celsius? I haven't looked at Celsius in a while. Actually, I haven't looked at this, I think, like once on this channel. So this is very, very fun. Ooh, okay, Celsius breaking down from here. So the key thing here is you can see volatility come in. One thing to do, maybe we need to draw some lines first, make sure we're holding up at a key level. If you want to say probably right in between those, maybe something like this. This would be the buy opportunity, right? This is a pullback here. You haven't lost this. If you start to lose this, watch out. So I would pay attention to a 2 hour because that's crossed over as of right now. Now what we can pay attention to for right now though is if this 30-minute can curl up. If this 30-minute can curl up, I would really wait for this to at least confirm first, right? I would really wait for this because it's a little deeper. So I really want this to confirm. I have plenty of room because this would confirm somewhere around here and then go positive past this high here, and then we'd see some kind of divergence maybe. So good setup. I totally understand why you'd want to buy in this context. Series of what? Higher lows, higher low, higher low, even a higher low right there. Now this one dipped down for a moment, but didn't break through this low right here, so not too worried. Now if you make another higher low, what happens? Well, we could turn up on the MACD. Just wait for confirmations, guys. Very, very diligent trading. June, drop you a sub. Wait, you dropped? How I know if Apple will make the move upwards? Well, you're going to want confirmation on this MACD. I think confirmation on the MACD. So here's the thing about weekly ranges and why Patreon's very good to join and why that Tesla play hitting that downward move is so cool. Because we gravitate towards them. Those are telling you that's what the options market expects. So if the market option expects to get to one of those levels pretty much almost every single week, okay? Almost every single week, you're going to touch a weekly expected move. Now, that's probably like 70% of the time, 75% of the time. But what could we do? Well, if we turn up, this is why we're talking about those weekly expected moves. Say there's something like this. These aren't the real expected moves, but this is how it acts, right? We're kind of in the middle. All right, what do we want to pay attention to? If this curls up, that is a confirmation, right? If this curls up on this MACD and you start to see green bars on this histogram down here, that is a confirmation of upward momentum. So that would tell you, okay, if we can see a good push here and gravitate towards that weekly expected move. Now, once we hit here, this is all the options market expects. So I would say, hey, this is all I should expect. And if I made money out of this play, I shouldn't really be taking upside. I should be looking for another pullback and then next week get a new weekly expected move and go hit that. Now, same thing's true in the other direction. If this actually flips and goes negative, right? This flips and goes negative, you might gravitate towards the weekly expected move downside. This would tell you that that's all the downside that's expected. So if I come outside of that, 68% chance for a bounce, and the SPY and Q is still in a bullish context as of right now. So that is just telling me a lot, right? I get a lot of info just from having a couple lines on my chart. That's why the Patreon is so powerful. The link's down in the description. A lot of people benefiting from that. And if you want to go learn it yourself, it took me a little while to figure out exactly the perfect way to make those ranges. But in the course, I give you an easy way to do it on Robinhood if you just want, not the best, right? My range might be like, if you do the Robinhood method, my range might say like, oh, 189.75. Your range might say like 188.50. Just a little bit different. So they still work pretty good. You just move outside of the Robinhood ranges a lot more, I notice. Do you teach how to read charts? Yep, we do in the course. There's a course down below. It's one of the probably best and cheapest. I'm not trying to like make a big buck. I really want to teach people how to trade better, and just the way that I'm going about it, I'm trying to speak of it. Sure, I'm quick a lot of the time, but if you really read into what I'm saying, it's pretty simple. Now, there are times where it's more complicated. A short squeeze is more complicated, and you want to simplify this, all right? You're not seeing a pullback. We called a short squeeze. Okay, so what do you want to see? You want to see some kind of pullback to head higher. What are we seeing right now? We're seeing some kind of pullback. This is great for a trader. Now we can get a confirmation move upside, right? If we curl up on this MACD into positive territory. So if you take the course down below, I think it's 199 now. You can see this center line. We talk about this a lot. We go into extremely good detail about the MACD and what you should be looking for as far as setting up a trading strategy or even just swing trading. You can literally look at it in that perspective. And then in a volatile market, it's a lot harder to trade, so we give a bear market strategy as well. Is it beginner friendly? I would say so, June. I would say so. And then I would also say this, and maybe if someone's a beginner who took it, maybe you could attest to that. But I would say this as well about it being beginner friendly. I say multiple times you can ask me questions. My email is in the course plenty of times. I mention it over and over again. If you have a specific question about the course, you can email me, and people who have emailed me, I respond within like 48 hours, and I don't just say like, yes, no. I give a full paragraph. I talk about what you are trying to learn. Wait, Anthony did something? Tesla ripping. What did you do, Anthony? Full transparency, I sold out of Netflix puts down to 800, trying to get better at cutting losses. Good. That is great. You are figuring out one thing you're weak at, and you're actively working on it. I love, love, love to see it, and I love wearing a white tank top. You see my shoulders being held in by tape right now? It literally was to the point, this shoulder, because I've dislocated both my shoulders, where if I would reach over here, it would slightly pop out, and it was starting to give me major aches and pains, especially holding a baby, right? Holding a baby all day. Completely recovered my Netflix loss on Tesla today. Let's go, dude. Nice job. All right, Microsoft. Remember, this is one that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. This is how I do things, all right? 15-minute curled up, positive territory. Remember, I am a pretty seasoned trader. I've done this for a long time. This is not my, hey, go take this play or anything like this. I'm never going to tell you to take it. I'm showing you the signals. I want you to be able to make a decision for yourself, because YouTubers aren't always going to be on YouTube. If YouTube just went away tomorrow, you want to be able to have the skills to be like, I am confident in my trading. I know how to do this. I have my method to make weekly ranges, at least on Robinhood. You can look up how to make those ranges. And one person even asked me how to make the ranges. And I said, here's the equation. There's a lot more to figure out with the equation than you think. Kalani wants the SPY to go up. Kalani wants the SPY to go up. I remember Kalani saying something. The resistance for the SPY, though, Kalani, by the way, sorry, I might have been getting coffee when you asked, 520. 520.21. But you'd also say right below that, you'd say 519.61. Most likely, if we make an upward move like this and we get into this little area, I will probably not be long anymore on Microsoft. I think this will be a quick little play. What did anime do? Made back my money from Palantir, so learning my lesson, and I'm back to even for the week. Woohoo, thanks for the weekly range, Lucas. Yes! See, this is what I want to see. I don't even know the plays that you guys are making, and you're able to make your money back. That means, to me, you're learning. It makes me excited on this channel. It truly does. This is like the whole goal here. Kalani up 50%. Let's freaking go, dude. Like, this is where it is good. You come in, you say, hey, and the other thing is this, man. I respect the hell out of all you guys who come in and just say, I took a loss because I did this. And you're willing to share that with the community, because that is a good learning experience for someone else. Now, unfortunately, you had to go through the loss, but that means someone who didn't can take that information into perspective and say, hey, I saw a big upward move before earnings. Awesome. I saw a big upward move before earnings. I could have gotten out of that and had zero risk the next day, but I tried to get rich quick. Do not try to get rich quick, guys. Gain the skills, take accountability for your trading, and then you'll be able to be like, okay, I can make money over time. Making $10,000 off of a random play is nice. Making $50,000 over an entire year is much, much better. Congratulations. 2K for Kalani. Let's freaking go, dude. Yes. Was up 40%, moved my stop to 30 and got stopped out, but got back and up 30% again. So you're trading like water. That's what I like to see as well. Double dip. We like the double dip. Microsoft making this little upward move here. Let's go check in on the SPY. Has that really confirmed? Not just yet, but it's about to. It's about to. The next move could be here. Now, what you would say from here, once this goes positive, you can test this high, right? So once we're positive, we can test the high. It's not guaranteed we go make a new one. But once it goes positive, if you take out this high, it really looks like we're going to make an upward move somewhere in this zone. And remember, this zone, when I make this square, that includes all the way up here, but it also includes all the way down here. So if you do not want to risk much, and this does make that upward move, this is that weekly expected move. Remember, Tesla barely touched it and then sold off within like 5 minutes, or bought back up within 5 minutes to the downside. It went like this, boop, right? So you want to be quick with it. You want to say, okay, if I reach there, maybe I take some off the table, let the rest ride. If the rest rides, you want to say probably around that monthly expected move, I would really say like, hey, a pullback's most likely coming from this area. So, and then maybe we see a more dramatic pullback before CPI, and then we see something else. So it's pretty much, this is the next move. Then we have to wait again, just like we did throughout this. We scaled out of longs. Okay, now it pulls back. If that makes another move higher, okay, I need to scale out of that again and wait for the next moment like this one. Just because, the reason I'm mentioning that a bunch is because this is getting very close to the center line. If you get a little 15-minute divergence right here, that's going to be very high potential to reverse the trend for a little bit, and we can get a little bit more dramatic pullback, if not a trend reversal. Okay, so pay attention to that. We broke through this zone. Maybe we get up to here, we build back down into it, and then we start to head higher later on. And we're not out of the woods yet, right? We haven't even crossed up on this MACD, so we can't get too excited. Can't get too excited for that upside, but it looks like it's there. Are we getting the mystical quarter flip? Who wants to look at an earnings for tomorrow? Get the coin flip. Do not buy into the coin flip, please. That is something we do for fun. It's literally how we display. This right here is how we display how every single earnings is a 50-50 flip. Every single earnings is a 50-50 flip. That's how we display it. We do this. And then we have to write it down in the book. So far, it's kind of 100 for 100 on as far as a trader goes, right? Even with the Tesla pop we saw. It's a chaos regulator, yeah. It's like, which way is it going to go? Well, it's 50-50, but which way is it going to go? Okay, the coin says, not me, not me. You lose a bunch of money. I didn't say it. The coin did. You got to take it up with George, all right? Did my girls leave? Hold on. The girls are leaving in about 3 minutes. We will check on AMD for you real quick, Fardis. We haven't looked at AMD in a little bit. Okay, so what's AMD doing? Well, AMD gave that confirmation for a brief moment, but look at this, wasn't able to go positive. Remember when I zoom in, going positive, very important. If you took a shot on this bar, well, first of all, it's a red bar closing below a moving average. Usually you want to see a strong bar. But as of right now, you would say, okay, this is in negative territory and it curled back down. So what's the most likely thing as of right now? Downside. Downside's the most likely scenario for AMD. So what do I want to pay attention to for AMD? Well, I would, because I'm part of Patreon, obviously, I want to see any kind of downward move. And I noticed that there is room for the 30-minute to get closer to the center line. Okay, so the 30 minutes still not able to turn up. Remember, I like my 30-minute confirmations. I think those are very, very good. So what could happen with this? Maybe we see another dip down and that's able to buy back up. We'll have to see. This is still pretty much consolidation at this point, right? We see the two highs come in. We expect resistance. Now maybe we get a little A, B, C move, and then we can see that 30 minutes start to rip back up. So for AMD, I'd really, because of that wonky behavior on the 15-minute, I would really wait for this 30-minute to curl around. I think that would be a good sign for some upside. And AMD was a little bit closer to its weekly expected move. So this could dip down a little bit further before that move because it doesn't necessarily want to get outside of that too early on before Friday. But you can still pay attention to a 15. If this can go positive, it's still very close. If this can go positive, very important thing that you're going to learn once you do take that course. Kind of like Microsoft right now, it crossed. That is a good sign. Am I fully confident in it? No, not fully confident in Microsoft yet. Sure, I have a play in it. We've made a little bit of money in this move already. But if this can go positive, I can make a lot more. So I really want to pay attention if this is able to go positive up in this area. And all you need is a little bit of price action, right? So that Microsoft move, let me reload this to see that update. That Microsoft move is officially up 25%. Let's see. One day that quarter will sit in a glass case along. We'll mount it and put it on the wall, or put it in like a golden box, and we'll open it every earnings season. VIX double bottom. See that there is potential for that, by the way. There is potential. Be a little careful trying to call the double bottom early. You really want these things to confirm. Just note that even when volatility goes up, you can still see the market go up. You want to usually see the same signal at the same time. So what I would like to see here with this 15-minute, right, 15-minute double bottom kind of proving itself here is that to go positive, take out this level, see that VIX roll back down. But what I would really like to see is a 30-minute divergence proven down here, because that would be at the same time as the SPY. Okay? So the SPY could give you a 30-minute divergence up high, which is at the same time as volatility, and then that's a moment that I would really pay attention. Maybe it's a hint that something geopolitical is going to tear us down, or we're just going to see a little bit bigger of a pullback. See, that was my mouse messing up, so thank you to who did it? More Pando, Dishum, and Anthony for all donating yesterday so I can buy me a new mouse. I love that it's like, I can buy a new mouse, I just never do. I'm one of those guys. I'm probably, maybe some other dudes can attest, like I have the same underwear from like 5 years ago. What does this mean on trend-wise? Well, trend-wise for Microsoft, you don't want to think too complicated here. 30-minute is still positive trend. All right, you would say this. 15-minute is negative, but trying to go back into the positive trend territory. So this does have potential to keep going down until we get into positive territory. So this right here is looking very negative, right? Still, even though it's crossed, but it has potential. So the probabilities are saying this 30-minute is still in that positive territory. We're seeing a strong move, almost a V shape. This has the potential to curl up. And there is room on the RSI. There is room on the MACD to head higher, especially on the 15-minute. I really want to pay attention to the 15-minute breaking above this level, getting very, I would say, overbought. And maybe we see something quick like this, right? We get a little tiny divergence up here in the short price action. But overall for Microsoft, how I'm looking into this is 15-minute is able to go positive. It looks like it's trying to go positive right now. If this 30-minute curls up, I'm going to say, hey, weekly expected move. Boom, we go tag something like this, and then we curl back down. Look out for divergence. Nvidia, are we going to hit 917 today? Whoopsh. Tina's like, whoopsh. All right, we'll go look at it for you for the whoopsh. You know what I'm saying? Nvidia, this is some good fight between the bulls and the bears. This is great consolidation behavior. Why? Well, you're getting tight, right? We saw a big swing, a little bit big swing, but smaller swing, smaller swing, smaller swing. Then we get the breakout. So just wait for that confirmation, because what you could do also is you could create like a little mini trend like this. And once that breaks, you're most likely going to be seeing that 30-minute curl up. So right now you're saying my consolidation in here is pretty much a continuation triangle. And notice that this is what we talk about a lot, and how divergences really work too. Maybe we should mention that as well on the course, maybe make a new section for that, but divergences can talk about this as well. But pretty much you want to see coiling up of price, and then you're going to see a big move down, or coiling up of price, and you see that big move up. That's why people wait for breakouts. I am pretty much a breakout trader as well. I'm a position trader, but I wait for the breakouts and then I take my position. I see a 20-point move, maybe a 30-point move higher. 30-point move is likely for Nvidia going all the way into Friday from here. So a 30-point move higher would be great. If I see this break down, I'm not taking any upside. I haven't gotten any confirmation. So I really want to see this break, confirm, and then I can see that start to head higher and be confident in the move. As of right now, not as confident in Nvidia. But what can we notice on the 15-minute? It's trying to go positive. It just looks kind of wonky. That's why I don't like it the best. One that looks really, really good, and why I'm taking it, is Microsoft. Like, it beat down. Now it's just getting one simple curl up, and it's trying to go positive. Like, this is a very good one to pay attention to. We can see in the next 30 minutes if that wants to go positive, or we might want to see something else. Be very open to this for Microsoft. This is a V-shaped base. What we could see is the 5-minute roll down and roll up at any time. So if you're not in this move, you're looking for an opportunity. Well, the 5-minute might give you it if it beats down and then curls back up, or if it beats down for a double bottom and curls back up, getting a stronger base. So what I would do at this point is I would say, okay, let me double down on my position. If I see that next upward move and we cross again with divergence to start to go positive, okay, I can take that next move. Right now, I'm pretty much swing trading on a 30-minute, but this is the thing I'm paying attention to still for Microsoft, pretty much on my other screen. So it's like if this can go positive, I can be more confident. If the 30-minute rolls up, I can be very confident. If the 5-minute starts to roll down and then roll back up, I can be confident. If the 15-minute starts to roll down with this, then I'd say, okay, maybe I want to get out of this move. So 917, I think, is very, very likely for Nvidia, actually. If we can break out of this consolidation, I think you have a good shot to go hit 930. Thank you guys, as always, for liking and subscribing. Really appreciate it. Hopefully that was helpful, Tina. Remember to keep trading like water, Tina. Stuff like times like now where you could experience more pullback or you could make the next move higher. Right now, you're still in a squeeze environment. I'm guessing because we're going to see the first bit of selling come in right now, that you're going to see people try to short the crap out of this maybe and say, oh, this has to fall down. Never say this has to do anything. The stocks are going to do what they want to do, and you just want to react. Any luck on AMD moving up, though? I mean, I'm going to double check on that for you, Fardis, just to see. Right now, what would I be paying attention to? 5-minute. I would genuinely, if I want this to go higher, I would be paying attention to a 5-minute, see if any divergences do pop up. You got one divergence down here. Okay, big move. Now, what if I get a triple divergence at this low with a double bottom, and then that's a sturdy base to head higher? Remember, AMD is closer to its weekly expected move as far as this high goes. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you on, would you like to look at Nvidia on a 15-minute for a second here? See if that's able to break up or break down. I'm going to say bye to the girls and carry Ari out. She's getting a little heavier now. All right, I'll be right back. Great opportunity to join the Patreon while I'm gone. Just saying. The link's down there. You can get those weekly moves and know exactly where this thing's going to head by Friday. We'll see. And we're back! Oh, I kind of yelled into the mic. I'm so sorry about that. Let me see here. Let's do this. Now, gotta turn on the camera. Yeah, Kalani, you still holding or what? No. Nvidia still not breaking out. Remember, we can continue to get tight. Okay, big move, medium move, small move, small move, smaller move, smaller move, breakout. Okay, so this is why on Nvidia I'm saying it's not the best. On the 15-minute, if you want to see if that breaks on the 15-minute, okay. But I would say, 30-minute, very simple, curls up, crosses into positive territory. Okay, next big move coming. Test the high, make a new one. Whew, out of breath. She's heavy. A bit of rollover happening. So we want to pay attention to, well, maybe I want to pay attention to my trade for a sec. If Microsoft rolls over, we can say maybe the market does the same. 5-minute. What did I just say about the 5-minute for Microsoft? Notice that I'm saying it once we get to overbought territory. We didn't get extremely overbought. So this could just be some kind of pullback. We see that curl right back up. If it's going to be dramatic, okay, we can see if we take out these lows. That would be kind of telling. And then see if we get some kind of V-shape down here for an entry. Now, this was pretty V-shaped even on a 5-minute. I would say that. And the buying was actually really good. You got buying, little sideways, buying, little sideways, buying, little sideways, buying, now sideways. Look for that buying to come in one more time. 15-minute, not able to fully roll positive here. Not able to fully roll positive. So not convinced just yet that this has to go higher. And I got to be trading like water. Nvidia seems bearish. Nvidia could be bearish. It very well could be bearish here. Remember, if you go look at like an hourly or something like that, you're still facing pretty dang far down. I would just be on my toes. I think you have a good shot that this keeps piling up today, and then we see some kind of breakout. But we'll have to see if that breaks out or breaks to the upside or breaks to the downside. One thing that I'm paying attention to as well, Meta making this upward move. Meta kind of needs a better pullback here. It's kind of making me want to take a position here, but as volatility is still low, this could just be some kind of minor pullback, okay? So this is happening early on in the week. It is only Wednesday, right? We're almost halfway through the entire week in a couple hours here, or in an hour or so. This right here is a signal I pay attention to. So this might be a time where it's like, oh, I'm bullish on Microsoft if it can make that upward move, but I'm also like, okay, Meta is telling me a lot in this area. And I still have my hedge in place. So as of right now, you would say if we continue the buying pressure, then Meta's just going to keep going higher. But you could experience a time where Meta actually does want to pull back from these levels. Just know that Meta, as it does get outside of its weekly expected move, crazy things happen outside the weekly expected move, and we are in a squeeze environment. Bearish, not really bearish on Meta, more like pullback on Meta seems very likely. Where would that pullback go down to? Well, I'd really like that test of 453.08. I still would like that test. And that wouldn't be unheard of by any means. I'm really going to pay attention to the 5-minute on my left screen for Microsoft. That's really my only bullish play at this time. I think that was a good setup. We'll just have to see if this wants to break down or if it's just going to move sideways and then see the next move higher. What do I want to do with this? What do I want to do? This is where a position play might be safer. Much safer. $5 move. $10 move would be 64 down to this low. Most likely more dramatic than that. All right, we're kind of everywhere right now with my positions. Honestly, we're kind of seeing a weird environment here. Meta is also outside of its monthly. That is something to be a little bit worried about, guys. Meta outside of its monthly expected move. That is kind of crazy. Who did that? Who did that? Fartis, $10. Hey, thank you. Just for the coffee. For the coffee. Ooh, let me taste it. Does it taste any good, Fartis? Let's see. Smells good. Oh, it's good, Fartis. Thank you so much for the coffee. Really appreciate it. $10 from Fartis. Can we all celebrate Fartis for a second, please? Their first super on the live stream. Thank you, Fartis, for the donation today. Netflix puts yesterday and today, Dave. Oh, unfortunate with Netflix. Netflix is moving pretty crazy to the upside, so. Rejected at 516.80. Rejected at 516.80. Now, we are still looking for if we're going to turn this back around. Remember this, okay? We can look at a 5-minute. It's positive. If that rolls negative, maybe we need a stronger base down here. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Maybe we need a stronger base. Or how would we head up from here, guys? Uh-oh. What about this? Do not get too feared out. If that 5-minute cross down goes negative, yeah, you have potential here. But that's going to take a little bit of time. You could just be grabbing some more buyers for the next big move, guys. Left, head, right shoulder. Look for, if you're bullish, if you're bearish, probably don't want to drop below something like 516.50. Okay? Probably don't want to drop below there because then you can go test this low. But what I would say as far as this 5-minute chart goes, look at the left, look at the head, look at the right shoulder that could form. If we start to break above these closing bars, let's just look where these closing bars are. Actually, let's look at the close on this. 517.70. So 517.70 going to be a very important level to break through. Let's look at the Qs, see if they're setting up a similar thing. Now the Qs got overexcited. So this looks dramatic. We have to see. What if this is just a people got excited, but we still want to form the left head and right shoulder? Likelihood here is we're still in that bullish context. Selling is met. Any selling that comes in is met up with some buying in this environment. So we have to see left head, right shoulder. Note this too, guys. I still have my hedge in place. Still have that hedge in place. But am I convinced? So now you guys are able to, because you're joining the stream and you guys are awesome, and you guys are following what I do, you guys are following everything, you guys are learning, you guys are experienced at this point. If you've been part of this channel for a long time, you'll start to see stuff like this too. So hopefully you can see that for the SPY. The SPY looks like a very, very good amount of structure. Left head, right shoulder. Anything like this shouldn't scare you. Anything a little bit deeper should scare us a little bit, but we also know, what if we just want to make a stronger base and then we start to head up? Still bullish context overall. Structure. You gotta look for the, what is that guy? That guy, I really like that guy. He's fun. He's fun to watch. He's one of the only people that I really like watch consistently now, just because he's entertaining. The way he does things is totally different, and I don't understand it at all, but I like to watch him because he's always like, look for the microstructure. Look for that microstructure. Liquidity in this area. Which me and him both say liquidity, but I think it's funny. He's like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make the cup. You see the algorithms here. And then what would you need to do? Well, from here, if we are going to move higher from here, what are you going to experience? Well, maybe this gap down, we actually go and grab some liquidity right in here. That pretty good? Did I do a good job? I like that guy. I think he's good. He does things completely differently, and I can't really use his info, but I love watching his videos just because of his voice. Microsoft, was this able to break down? No, not even on a 5-minute. So let's see what that 15 minutes doing. We're going to get another bar here. We'll see if that can go positive. He does have so many lines. It's so confusing. That's the thing. I mean, to him, it's probably simple, and maybe to people who know his stuff, it could be simple. Is there a chance for Nvidia to be green today? Yes. Yes, there is. Still a chance for Nvidia to be green. Remember, if I just do this, let's do this. Let's go minutes. If I do this, what are you noticing? Well, we go through expansion, contraction, right? Expansion, boom, expand. What do we do? Build up, contract, get tight, break. All right, expand. What are we doing now? We're trying to get tight. right? You see these getting tighter, these Bollinger Bands getting tighter in here. Now you can just know that from the price action. That's why I don't do it on the shorter time frames. I have it on hourly time frames on my other charts, but I don't necessarily use it very often. So what you want to see here is if this breaks to the downside, then you'd be like, uh-oh, we could break through this low. So you say break to the downside, break this low, then you can go make that series of a new low, retest, go lower. If you actually are able to scoop up from here, okay, cool. Now we can head higher from this level. Apple turning green. We got to pay attention to everything today. We're doing a nice long stream today. This is good. So what do we need for Apple? Apple's been wonky on the 15 minute, so I really like the 30 minute for confirmation for a higher move. Really like the 30 minute. Dow. Okay, wait, someone asked about the Dow. I'm so sorry for just now getting to it. Who the heck was it? I'm so sorry. It's usually Mark, isn't it? I'm sorry, Mark. I'm just now getting to it. But as of right now, what do you see from the Dow? Well, the Dow's telling you the same thing. It's saying, hey, I can make an upward move. Now, just be careful. This could be brief, right? 30 minute, maybe we see a divergence or something like that. Or what if we just wipe all that out and then start to head higher? We'll have to see, but another upward move could be likely here. Let's look at that 15 minute as well. Getting close to the center line, able to turn up. This is why I'm like, be a little bit cautious. You have a lot of 15-minute divergence in here, a lot of 15-minute divergence. Now, take that with a grain of salt. You're still in a positive trend. We haven't gone negative once yet. You need this to roll negative to start to talk negatively about it, all right? So what we're going to need to do is actually see this roll down, make some new lows with a double top. At this point, though, you could say, hey, what if this was cup? I'm getting a handle in the smaller time frames. If we beat down into a 5-minute, what would you say? Well, I'd say this. Look at this. If you really look at it, doesn't that look like a cup? Isn't this the handle forming? We could head higher from this level. Positive context. We have to talk positively until we start seeing some negative things. Are you live every day? Yes, every single morning, usually right at about 10 to 15 minutes before open, I am live. What are your setups for the MACD? You can just look. It's pretty simple. I do like the 9 smoothing, which some people disagree with, but 12, 26, 9. 12, 26, 9. For the inputs there. There you go. You can have it. I am in no way trying to hide my indicators, right? I just want to be successful as a trader, help other people be successful too. So, what are your setups for your MACD? Okay, we got to that. Now we want to look at I'm guessing you're asking about silver, favoring a pop and drop scenario, pseudo bull trap and a pullback. Laws, I think that's kind of what we're hinting at here. If you want to go look at Apple, right, this thing could confirm some upside. Okay, so what do we want to pay attention to? Once again, this is bullish context. This is not a reversal sign up here. There's nothing on these indicators that are saying it has to reverse in trend, that is. It has to go negative. What would have to happen for that to really pop something up that I would pay attention to? You see a pop like this. You see a pop like this, what does that do? Boom, like that. Now we have that divergence. Hold on 1 second. Making sure that's not the girls. They're going to the chiropractor right now. Now, if you're asking about silver? Try some Tiger Blam? Tiger Blam? What is Tiger Blam? Oh, Tiger Balm. I was like, Tiger Blam. For strength. I got these, I got my cords. Like, I played college soccer, and I kind of cut my professional soccer career short with these injuries, but I was still able to finish out my college career. That's right, I got scouted by pro teams when I was like a junior in college, but I wasn't able to play for the Red Bulls. I would have left college if they offered me something. But I went back and played my senior season, so I know what to do to get my shoulders back in tune. It's just very hard when you have a baby. Dads can attest to that, but what is this stuff good for? World-class athlete or weekend warrior, you can trust Tiger Balm for proven pain relief. I don't really have pain anymore since I started to strap it in. But what happens is, like, so your shoulder blades are like this, okay? let's see, I'll get to the chat here. Your shoulder blades are like this on your back. Mine, on both my sides, they start to fan out and do that. And you want them to sit like this. So in order for me to fully be like comfortable, I have to flex my abs and roll my shoulders and almost like I'm pinching them down. I might try to grab some. What's the resistance of Apple do we need to break to hit 185 levels? I would say, first of all, you need to cross up on this. You need to cross up on this. Now, what we'd need to happen most likely, we kind of talked about this a couple days ago, was just like this level up here is going to be very important. This is the zone. So pretty much you're like, this zone is resistance. This zone is resistance. What's happening as of right now? Big move, medium move, small move, breakout. All right? So that's what I would be paying attention to. Maybe you even want to create some kind of structure in this move. Structure, sorry. Let me say that correctly. Structure, right? So right now you would say maybe this is the type of structure I'm looking at. I'm seeing the price get tight. A big move's coming. If I can curl up on the MACD and break through this, then good shot. We're going to go test the weekly expected move, or at least get into this zone. So you would say I am at least expecting this zone at 186 to get tested. Yeah, I know, but it said Tiger Blam when he typed it, guys. I'm reading. I kind of was like, I'm pretty sure it's Tiger Balm, but I'm just going to say Tiger Blam. I was like, I gotta figure, but just in case it is actually called Tiger Blam, I'm going to keep calling it that. We can leave the top one up. I wouldn't read too much into the bottom one just yet. Do you get wash sales? I don't know if I even know what wash sales is, to be honest. Let me read into it. Sure to wash sales when you sell a security at a loss for the tax benefits, but then turn around and buy the same or similar security. It doesn't. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, not necessarily. Now, I can tell you this, if they pass that thing that's going on, which Biden's apparently trying to put a 50% tax on unrealized capital gains, so that means if you make $100,000 off of a stock and you're not even selling the stock, he's going to charge you a 50% tax on that. That's when I might start doing those things, yes. Slap it on your shoulder. Nvidia intraday bottoming tail on the 10. Interesting. Going higher, just some liquefy grab. You have time to vote by now. Yeah, so if he does that, I probably will be doing some... The thing is, the thing that politicians don't understand, is they keep trying to make these regulatory things that end up with business savvy or money-making people to pay taxes. I'm going to tell you right now that those business savvy people always find the way to get out of the tax in some way. There's always some way for them to get out of it, and they figure it out, and they just do business a little differently. If you have watch sales, you will know at tax time. I don't think I do. One way to avoid watch sales is just to sell everything in December and then stop trading for at least a month. Interesting. I'll look into it. Obviously, I've never really done that. I'm more just like, I take my money, I pay my taxes. That's usually how it is. And then I have all my expenses recorded so that I can make those taxes a little bit less. Now, I'm trying to get a bunch of debt right now so I can make those taxes like 0. Well, they won't want to pay it either, but they are going to use the method that business people use in order to not pay the tax. It's kind of like when Trump was running and they were like, you never paid taxes. And he goes, I use the same exact thing that all of her donors use. I think it was Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, yeah, that's called a business person. The thing is, the less tax they pay, like, sure, it's the more things that they can bring into the economy. Yeah, sure, they're really rich, but the reason that they're really rich is because they're giving a ton of people jobs while holding all the risk. Now, we can talk about certain industries that are monopolizing. If you want to know one industry that you should be like, yeah, that's monopolizing, that really shouldn't, it's banking. The small banks dying off and big banks buying them. Look at that, Diana, getting some info. I love when people give us stuff to think about in the chat. It's awesome. So if we're just taking this from the perspective slot machine, I'm talking to you. If we're taking this from a perspective of what is going to cause this to sell off, you could say, hey, yeah, we could read into that a little bit and just say, hey, the charts are telling us this is going to curl up. I'm going to tell you right now, based on how I do things, I don't give two shits on why the stock wants to go up. I've really turned into that kind of guy. I just pay attention to the signal that's going to make this go up for whatever reason. I do not care. Now, if this goes up like this and then around this point, we have some geopolitical news and I see that dropping off, hey, guess what? I'm going to pay attention to this MACD curling down, negative territory, right? So I will always be with the fundamentals as long as I follow everything and trade like water. But I would say this, that is a good reason. That is a good reason. Maybe people pump this up, dividend, boom, and then that drops off, right? That could happen. So it's a good thing to bring up, but I just want to tell you my mentality. My mentality is I don't care why Apple wants to go up. I just see the MACD cross up and I play the momentum up. Okay, cool. But it's perfectly fine as if you like to pay attention to those things and that helps you. I'm not telling you not to pay attention to it. I want to be very specific on that. I'm not telling you not to pay attention to that type of stuff. It's still good to pay attention too. But me, I'm just like, all right, stock goes up, I get in. Buying back their own stock, yes. Yes, this is the buyback pump. Yeah, we don't trade around earnings, Troy. Nice try. He almost got us. He almost got us. Man, for a second there, I was like, man, I should get in. For a second there, I was like, man, I should get into this. For sure. No, I wasn't at all. No, don't trade around earnings. Make money the slow way. It's secretly, very secret thing. Slow way is actually the fast way. Why? Because you'll never blow up your account if you're trading like water and trading the slow way, making your money over time. I'm just curious to know your thoughts on dividend part. People can buy into it because of dividend, by the way. It's not like it's unheard of. It's just I'm more of a guy nowadays, especially since, I got ruined by fundamentals when I was like 20, 21 years old, and got a lot of money ripped away from me at the time, a lot of money ripped away from me, that I'm like, nope, I'm paying attention to signals from now on. I'm getting really good at this stuff. And look where I'm at now. I can be very happy with where I'm at now. Press my button if you want fast money. Yeah, you might as well type that. Tesla turning back up. Okay, let's do this, guys. It is approaching 10:30. The girls are going to be back in about 30 minutes. So I'm going to do a full breakdown, okay? What have we seen from here? Well, the 30-minute has not crossed up into positive territory. So we can't say this has to go up until that happens. Now we can look a little deeper. We can look at the 15. If that crosses up, the next move higher is confirmed. So what do we want to see? We want to see good structure in here in this move, right? 5-minute, we see the good structure. We literally have a mark off here at about 517.70. And if it breaks through that level, we can see a move here. What kind of move could we see? Well, let's take the closing to the closing here, the closing of where we need to break out. Let's put it right on top. All right, we're going to put it right on top. Boom, we can make a move where? Ooh, interesting. Weird how things line up. Interesting. Strange. It's almost like it's lining up with a daily expected move. No, I'm just kidding. But sometimes that does happen. You don't want to read into it too much. It does not have to go that high. So if we're going to make a move higher from here, great. What am I going to need to see? First of all, we're going to need to break above 517 on the microstructure. And then we're going to need this 30 minutes to curl up into positive territory. Now, this is where it can be brief, right? Because now we might actually get a reversal signal down here. So if we see this happen, look out, because now we'll actually have a downward divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. So if you're bullish, you don't really want any divergences to form there. I just want you to be aware of it if we see that upward move today. 15-minute looks like it can curl up into positive territory. Qs, very similar story. 15-minute, we can look into that, see if that's able to curl up just yet. Not able to curl up. We got a little excited on the Qs. That's perfectly fine. We need to come above 440.80. That's going to be a big price point, 440.83. If we go into the 5-minute, what are you going to see? Left, head. Sure, we got excited. Now we're making that right shoulder. Maybe we start to head a little bit higher from here. We'll have to see if that actually pans out. Look for those daily expected moves. Same things we're paying attention to on the 30-minute. This curls up and goes positive. Well, pay attention because we could see that brief pop, but then the SPYs might be out while the Qs don't reach it. So pay attention to both. You're going to want to pay attention to the SPY and the Qs. If the SPY get outside of it, but the Qs don't, they start to confirm that downward move, be careful with the Qs as well. Now, the reason we're paying attention to if a 30-minute divergence pops up is because 30-minute divergences, what do they like to do? They like to roll over 2 hours. Look at the 2 hour. It looks like it wants to roll over, right? So one more push and we could experience some kind of rollover. So this is where I really want to be on my toes. And since I'm not getting that confirmed move right now, I have to be on my toes even right now. Not getting that confirmed move just yet. It really wants to though, right? Apple, we're going to talk about Apple again. Look at this, 15-minute goes positive, breaks through the trend. Okay, so real confirmation here is going to be a 30-minute. I like the 30-minute crossing up. Sure, you can get a little excited on the 15 or do something like that. If that goes positive, breaks through this, okay, cool. That's most likely going to curl up the 30-minute. If you're going to take it early, keep that stop, that tight stop. Okay, tight stop in here. All right, now Apple, pretty simple though. It's pretty much like at a decision point, roll over and go negative, roll down on the RSI, or roll up and go positive, and you just want to react based on what happens. Tesla, this one here, this was very cool. Remember, we gave you that weekly expected move, the downside, just to show you how powerful they can be. The same thing started to happen with Amazon a couple weeks ago. The same thing's happening with Tesla, where we go and touch it to a T, now we turn up. So what I would pay attention to with this, remember, this was looking wonky, even the hourly looking wonky. So if you want to get Tesla to boom here, you're going to need this 2 hour to get some strength, which means you might not have a lot of time, because if we start to make divergences and get some kind of more dramatic pullback, I would say at this point, right? We don't want to say crash until that's actually proving. What I would say here about Tesla, as it's the middle of the week, look at this 30-minute. If this is going to remain negative, okay, it's going to roll up, maybe to hit that point of 180.92, and then roll back down, right? We'd roll up on the MACD, roll back down, another confirmation of a downward move around this area. So is this a good time to short? Hell no. Is this a good time to short? It's a better time, is what I would say. So we got to learn from these scenarios here. We got to learn from them. Now, if this is going to go positive, what are you going to see here in the 30-minute? It's going to take this back and be able to go positive, and we're going to see that positive trend continue. And that 2 hour is going to curl up, but Tesla a little bit likely to keep heading down, as it is very far into negative territory on this 30-minute. Amazon, this one here, what are we paying attention to? 30-minute rolling up, positive territory, right? This would be a huge thing. I got to sneeze. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. But 30-minute rolling up positive territory would be a very good sign for Amazon. Remember, Amazon, this is something that we were talking about. We were talking about a pullback right here yesterday live, because Cup, now you get the handle, now you can head higher. So even the 15-minute, if that can roll up and go positive, I think that's a good opportunity to start to confirm a lot. I would not expect this big of a move. I would not expect a 30-point move or something like that from this guy here or something. I just wouldn't. But we can pay attention to a lot of things curling up into positive territory. It's just I don't think or what is that? That's a 12-point move, or what is this all the way down to here? It's about an 18-point move. I don't think that's coming. The reason I don't think that's coming is because I think Amazon might be one to really pay attention to here. Amazon is starting to make a triple divergence on the MACD and RSI. Okay, so this could be a double top, but if we make that move higher, what do you get? You get a steep divergence here. You even have that divergence technically as of right now. So just be cautious if we're going to see something dramatic, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards after the next push higher. Well, you're going to see this daily MACD rollover. So just be careful. The upside might be limited for Amazon. Nvidia, what are we paying attention to? Well, we got some small price action, but remember, this daily MACD is still positive, testing that 5-day moving average. You see that test right there. So we get excited, we get above it, now we retest it. Now we can see what happens from here. So we're looking at a 15-minute chart here, and we're just seeing, can this thing actually go positive? As of right now, breaking down. So we have to pay attention, okay? This could make that move down, break out of structure, and start to head lower, right? We want to be open to both sides. As of right now, though, you would say this, 30-minute, what are we paying attention to? It's getting close to the center line. It's still in a positive overall trend here. You can tell that by even the 30-minute MACD. All right, that wants to go positive. What do we need to see? We need that to confirm. So we still expect this to get tight for some time. That's perfectly fine. We just want to wait for that breakout. AMD, this one's starting to bust down. A lot of people probably getting bearish on this. What did we say? Hey, 30-minute hasn't gone negative yet. Fully negative, I would say, and then we could get a 5-minute divergence. What's happening as of now? We'll see if that divergence was able to pop up. Uh-oh, look at that, a 5-minute divergence. Isn't it magical how the scenarios we talk about it? This is why it's very good to pay attention to multiple scenarios. We're getting that double bottom we were talking about. All right, 5-minute giving me divergence here. If this can curl up and go positive, what does that mean? Well, that means the 15-minute can curl up. What if that goes positive? Well, that means the 30-minute can curl up, and then that can already be positive right now. So it looks like from here, if we can really base out, that 30-minute's going to roll up, and we might even test 160.87. We'll have to pay attention to that. That's a very important level. The cool part about this would add up to our thinking of we may experience a more dramatic drop after we go to higher levels with one more push. Why? Well, even AMD is saying if I go to this level, well, this is where the big left head and maybe a big right shoulder form. So what if this reacts up to here and we get that big retest into the zone, right? So this would give us some structure to head higher, and that's what I want you to pay attention to overall. Look for those things rolling up into positive territory. Meta, this one I'm a little bit cautious on, okay? This is outside of its weekly expected move, and you're seeing 30-minute divergence pop up at that weekly expected move, and it's confirming, okay? And it is confirming. So this could lead to something more dramatic. I just wanted to point that out. Remember, this is a great move, great move, but we really need a retest of 453.08, I think, before I'm really convinced this can go higher, and I think that's very possible at this level. Where is it? The first point of resistance, really. If you're going to have resistance in this gap, it's going to be right here. So if you wanted to say like, oh, okay, this is maybe like a cup and handle without the price action over here, you would say maybe a big handle here, and then Meta actually goes way higher, way higher. We'll have to see. As of right now, this is bullish context, but you do have an opportunity where the 30-minute is telling you this is as high as Meta can go, and it might need to dramatically back off before we actually base out. So looking at a 2-hour now, this is what you want to pay attention to for Meta, because if this isn't going to hold up at 453.08, that means that this 2-hour is going to go fully negative, and you might actually test this low again, okay? You might actually test 427 again. I want you to be aware of all these situations and then just react on what is happening on your screen in front of you. Microsoft, this is still a solid move at this point. We're seeing that beat down. What do we say about Microsoft? I scaled out completely out of this, waiting for a pullback. There's my pullback. There's my pullback. Okay, what do we get? Cup, handle, boom. All right, let's go higher. That's what I would say about this. As long as some things can add up, the 15-minute can go positive. As of right now, it's barely going positive. We're moving sideways. So what was I paying attention to here? Still want the 30-minute to confirm this. I still want the 30-minute to confirm this move higher. That would give me confidence in this move. What am I experiencing right now? The 5-minute pullback. And I know we're clicking around a lot, but just try to pay attention because this is very important. If the 5-minute rolls negative, fully goes negative with like a closing bar negative below probably these moving averages, you can come test these lows. That's very, very bad, okay? So we might get some kind of double bottom or something like that. Am I leaning towards a breakdown of these lows right now? Not necessarily, but if it adds up to that later on, I'll probably be posting that to Patreon. So you can go grab the Patreon. You can join us over in that community, get these weekly ranges for Microsoft. But right now we're moving sideways, perfectly fine. I told you now, what do we see? Maybe a pullback on the 5 that curls back up. That would be very, very good. Remember, this is pretty V-shaped, pretty good recovery here. So if we do something like this, the next move higher could be here, and maybe we do want to turn up that 30-minute MACD. And we can be more confident in it. Google starting to bust down to, lower levels. So this was a dramatic drop here going on into today. And what do we experience? Okay, we get that pullback. Now we might need a stronger base. So this is telling me stronger base. Why? Negative territory. So do you see the difference between Microsoft and Google here? Microsoft 5-minute in positive territory. So we can say, hey, this could just curl right back up. Google, not necessarily. Google actually in negative territory, so we want to say, hey, fight the low, even make a new one. And we'll pay attention down at these levels. Maybe I want to pay attention to my weekly expected moves for Google and things like that. Where would those weekly expected moves be? Well, a whole lot lower. So you really want to be quick with it and hope this actually turns out to be true for Google for a 5-minute thing going on here. But what do we ultimately need to see? We need 30 minutes to curl up, and that looks like it's not as close to the center line. It's not as beat up as others, so it might reach down a little bit lower, maybe even fill this gap at 169.87. We'll see from there, but just pay attention. You're still experiencing the pullback. 15-minute going to be good too. If the 15-minute curls up into positive territory at any time, we could see the next move higher, all right? I want you to pay attention to that. This is bullish context, pullback, crosses to the upside, breakout through the high. Okay, we go make a new high. Curling up on the MACD is going to be very important to go positive here. Netflix, this is a very, very good move. First of all, I just want to point that out. This is a very, very good move. I think this is a get out of jail free card today. I do. I think it should be pulling back like the entire market, and that would look healthier. This has me worried. So even if this ends up going higher, I would be a good trader here and take some kind of profit. That's just how I'm seeing it. You can't float around up here forever on the 30-minute. Eventually, those sellers will pull back. And since we didn't do it today, that could be a little bit more dramatic. So I don't want to be caught in that mess. So I think that thing is going to suffer a little bit. Nvidia, I just wanted to check on this. It's starting to break down just a little bit lower here. So I want to bring this up real quick. Maybe something we need to pay attention to right now is volatility. Volatility, someone was mentioning a possible double bottom down here on a 15-minute. Okay, what are we seeing? Well, volatility is starting to creep back up. If that goes positive here, then this might all be ripped away. We might get a little bit more dramatic pullback. Okay, so we're paying attention to a lot. Yes, we are in bullish context right now. The Dow saying, hey, yeah, we're heading higher, but remember, divergence on the Dow. So a lot of things screaming, yeah, we could go higher, but there are a few things saying we could go lower. You have mixed signals. So it's a hard environment to trade in. I wouldn't trade 10 different stocks right now. I would trade maybe 2 and keep a very close eye on like 2 of them. Now the dollar is something I really wanted to pay attention to here. And look at that, it's dropping off. So even as things are pulling back, what's happening with the dollar? Well, that's seeing major resistance come in. It's kind of convincing me like, hey, this is just a retest and we're going to end up lower. I'm still leaning towards the dollar reaching down towards this 200, down into this zone. I think that that would be a solid move there, which means the market can go up with that. That's really what I'm leaning towards. But we saw that breakdown below these lows. We see that breakdown. Now we know there is some selling from some big guys in this overall upward move, and that's why we want to pay attention. Last note here about volatility. Remember that any pop in volatility you see, do not be convinced it is a crash until you see this daily curl back up. The daily curling back up is where you see something more dramatic happen. Okay? So this is not necessarily the time to say, oh, everything's going to crash into oblivion. If this was here and going like this, you would say, all right, the potential for that to happen is there. Let me hedge against anything. Let me short something because volatility could go nuts here and I don't want to be caught in any kind of longs. It would tell you like, hey, don't necessarily go long for a moment. Wait for some structure. All right, guys. Hopefully today was a lot of fun. I'm going to go back over to Nvidia on a 5-minute. This thing's still trying to bust down, so Microsoft holding up still pretty good. This is that tightness. And remember, this is a 5-minute, so it doesn't look tight to you, but if I just zoom out to a 30-minute, what does this look like? It looks very, very tight in here. The only thing is we're still right at that center line, right? We're still right at that center line, so it's decision time. It's a time for it to decide, does it want to try to hold up, or are we going to break down right now? And I would really pay attention to this going forward. What's the move that could happen from here? Well, if you like your measured moves, right, we could do something like this and say, all right, where would we go to? Maybe we go down to this area. Maybe we fill this gap down here towards 858. So there is potential for a downward move, but know that we're still in a bullish environment where selling will be met with buying. Selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. Now we got to see if those buyers really recommit because it's decision time. All right, let's leave you guys over on the SPY, and Google actually getting a slight bounce on the 5-minute, by the way, on my other screen, so that's funny. Let's leave you guys over on the SPY. and we're just going to pay attention. We're going to see that 15-minute, and all you got to do is watch this thing. If that curls up and goes positive, looks like the next positive move is there, as long as nothing crazy like geopolitical or anything like that happens. Look at the structure to head higher here, right? Boom, right in there, left head, right shoulder with the microstructure, and now we can see if that next upward move is coming. I hope you guys had a lot of fun today. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Is it over for Nvidia? No, it hasn't broken through that structure. So it has not broken through. Just be ready to react, but know that the market right now is trying to trick a lot of people into going into shorts, I think. I think the market right now is saying, look, we're going to sell off. Look, we're going to sell off. You should buy shorts. You should buy shorts. Oh, we're up 1-2%. That's what I think is going on right now. But I could be wrong, and that's perfectly fine. And I will readjust all my positions once I am wrong, and I will accept that. I will accept a little bit of a loss, and then I will continue to trade based on the signals that I'm seeing in front of me, and I will always be in the next move, right? That's what I would overall say. And even if it is a time, maybe I'm wrong, and I just want to be like, okay, let me reload for a second. Let me rethink. Let me take a step back. Let me take a couple days to see what the price action's doing and then find the perfect play. I think that would be very, very good for people to do with a day like today. Just wait, just sit around. Don't take any crazy plays. Just sit around and wait and be patient. And if you're going to see the next upward move, this 15 minutes going to cross up, and that could happen in the next 30 minutes. But you don't want to YOLO into something right now, and then in 30 minutes, you lose 50%. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to leave you guys on the SPY for now because I know people trickle in and they still maybe need these daily expected moves. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. Remember, if you're new here, and thank you so much, Fardis, for the donation. If you guys are new here, Adrian, you're welcome. If you guys are new here and you want to learn about this stuff, there is a course down below. You can look through previous videos and see how I see things. So if you maybe don't want to fork up $200, I also did put in a payment plan where you can pay $50 a month. So just $50 to get started, and then you pay $50 a month for 4 months. It's still $200, still the same thing. So it's very, very good option for you, and you just have to click a different link. That's the link in the description will send it to you, and then there's just a separate button for the payment plan option. But I thought that would be good too, in case someone was like, yeah, I just don't know about forking it all up at once. Okay, well, here's $50. See if you can make some money, and then, you know, it's kind of like the course pays for itself. You're able to learn from the course, and then you make over $50 that month. All right, cool. Now I can, you know, kind of use the course to pay for itself. And I thought that was a cool idea. So thank you guys so much for joining today. Patreon's very useful as well, but thank you guys for joining, liking, subscribing. You guys know at the end of the day, I just appreciate the fact that today, especially, a lot of people taking ownership for their mistakes and their trades and things like that. And I think that that is absolutely one of the most important things. Once you can start to take accountability and be like, this is what I should have done. I'm going to write it down. I'm not going to trade around earnings. I got the get out of jail free card, blah, 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 blah. Once you write all that stuff down, you remember it better. That's why I say write it down, because if I write something down, I'm going to remember it. Thank you guys for joining today. Cheers. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you guys for joining. Dee, HG, Diana, I Like Anime, Adrian, Dave, Spangler coming in. Happy Friday, Mark, Jeep, Kalani, Laws, June, Mark again, Kauila. I got to learn how to say your name, but Kaula, something like that. But thank you guys so much for joining today. Robert Dickens in here. Bernie's in here too. Thank you for teaching me. You are very, very welcome, Bernie. And you guys know that also, I know we've talked about one-on-ones, and I still get messages about that, by the way, before I head off. I'm trying to make it work. And I know I was going to try to make it work in May. It's just baby girl is going through the period of time where she's starting to realize a lot of things about the world, and she's a lot more sensitive. So it's very difficult for me to put aside a couple hours to do one-on-ones. But I guarantee you, when I can make that move, I will try to fully make it happen, and you guys will know about it. And we're going to give a discount for those type of things if you're part of the Patreon and things, because you are really contributing to the community and trying to get better at trading. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Greetings from Sweden. That's what's up. We love to see people from all around the world in here. And I wish you guys nothing but luck. Know that. I never wish for you to not be successful. That is why I really try to even come at you guys sometimes and challenge you and be like, why did you do this when we said not to? But it's nice to see you guys learn your lesson. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Hope you guys have a great one. And I'll see you on YouTube later. I'm not going to not make a video tonight, I promise. I'll see you guys later. Peace.